Okay, here's what I want to talk to you guys about. Hear me out for a moment. I got a lot of emails about this subject matter. A lot of people who are asking me, like I said earlier, about like what can we do to keep our little baby human Hugin safe? Okay. So I decided to make you a little list of things to look out for, things that you can maybe do, and kind of explain the culture of the most fucked up things that can happen to your teens because of the internet. And I say teens and preteens because, you know, when things happen online that affect kids, they affect them in different ways. And people who seek to harm you or your kids or exploit you or your kids come at it in different ways, typically depending sometimes on the age range. For example, the chances that, a 5, 6, or 8-year-old are going to necessarily be lured into the type of sex trafficking that a 17-year-old would, and the situation and how the cops respond to it and their capabilities of functioning on the internet in general is very, very vastly different. So because of that, I decided to make kind of a separate video for different age ranges because the one that we talked about in the past, when we discussed specifically kids, they tend to be either case specific or they focus on kind of kids as a whole. Everything from kids playing like Roblox to Angry Birds, Bubble Bash, all the way up to teens that are using dating apps. And I think that those are vastly different. I'm using vastly a lot. I don't know why. But basically the setup, the vig, if you will, the situation, the plan, it changes based on things like age, location, capabilities online, how much the person can talk, how available they are as far as the mark goes, aka your kids, the people they're trying to exploit. The way that it happens is totally different. Your son gets kids scammed by kids, gets kids scammed by kids on Roblox. Jesus. Yeah, it happens all the time. And whether it's something small or something big, it changes. It depends on the medium or the platform, if you will. I remember the day I found out Uncle Frank wasn't a man. Mind blown. I know, hilarious. Hilarious. Me too. Ozzy, I think I need to listen. Old lady thinks all people are nice. Okay. So hold on one second. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. So basically, what I'm saying is your teen, here's the situation. We're going to lay out a hypothetical. Okay. So your teen has gone feral. All right. They've begun to dabble, if you will, in the internet. They want social media. They're demanding the talk, the gram. They are going absolutely feral. And if you don't allow them to cavort amongst their peers in the Fortnites and the Roblox, and for the fearless of little human Hugins, by the way, they may even insist upon having their own stock portfolios. These are elite Hugins. That's right. They have taken to financial fronts on the internet. They've taken it up a notch. They are now dabbling in crypto as well. They beg for the Doge, and you no longer understand the language that the offspring that came out of you is using in the house where it eats your food and sleeps in beds and makes you wash its stuff. Can be a bit shocking, I'm sure. I have nieces and nephews. I see things. They're saying words like hodl. Your son is talking to a girl in Canada that can only speak to him via an app called Text Now. All right. She's sending him obvious AI pictures. She tells him that she would call him, but her parents are very religious, so she can't talk on the phone. And they monitor everything she does. So really, these cryptic little messages she can send him here and there. That's all she can do. But eventually she tells him, maybe, just maybe I can sneak a cell phone. Can I have your phone number? It's the only way. They're getting rid of my internet. Now she has his phone number. Or is it a she? Could it be a he? Why would it be a he? How could it be a he? What does it mean if it is? What exactly are their intentions? Are they sexual? Or are they not? Is it someone trying to financially exploit your child? What's going on here? This type of shit happens all the time. And I want to talk to you about the possibilities of why they would be doing that. And you're going to also notice things not just in your son, by the way. You're going to notice things with your daughter. Your little girl has blossomed into a mutant. And I'm talking a full-blown feral mutant. She has to do her makeup in front of strangers, and she has to dance like she's never fucking danced before. It has to be choreographed, just like we used to do with the VHS tapes. But the difference between VHS tape recordings of us doing NKOTB routines, and boy, did we look sick as fuck. The difference between that and what's happening now is with ours, we would literally have to share that VHS tape around the school, and we would never have done that. We would have screamed, been very embarrassed, and we probably gotten a few family fights because a sibling tried to play it for everyone. Nowadays, kids will share it willy-nilly. They'll share it with strangers. A grown-ass man in Dubai can look at it. A woman in China can look at it. A total stranger in Russia can look at it. And they can see your kid dance. And your kid's getting views. Your kid's not only getting views, but your little baby feral girl has now blossomed into a full-blown online entrepreneur. She's got brand deals. She's got meetings with people who she shouldn't have meetings with. People are sending her makeup kits in exchange for her address. Strangers are now offering her donations or tips, but in exchange, it would just be nice if she would wear that specific shirt and dance to a specific song. And you're sitting there going, what the fuck is happening? Why is my kid pulling in more income than me? Is she allowed to be on this app? What is going on? Why did my son just buy an $800 computer? Is he fucking around with crypto? These are normal things for a parent to be concerned about because it is kind of abnormal how normalized this shit is. Okay? I feel that. I feel that 100%. But it's also very, very confusing. And forgive me if I don't talk to chat right now. I'm trying to stay focused, okay? The kids have gone feral to a point that they are at risk of being exploited. Or, even worse, exploiting themselves without realizing it. They're getting sponsors from VPNs. This is a problem. Or worse, your kid is no longer talking to you. They're spending all their time online and you have no fucking clue what they're doing. You don't know what apps they have. You don't know who they're talking to. And you don't know why they seem weird or different. Maybe they start getting anxious. They start acting paranoid. They want to spend a lot of time alone. They stop eating. Your daughter starts wearing big sweaters all the time, covering up more than usual. Your son starts running in and out of the house. He's aggressive. He never wants to talk to you. And he always seems stressed. He's very sweaty. He's not getting much sleep. It's really bad. His grades are slipping. And also, he is literally on video games 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or he's staring at his stocks. He has a Robinhood. He has a Webull. You can no longer control him. You don't know whether to be proud for him or not. You don't know what crypto he has. You don't know who these people are that he is getting very upset with on a headset when he puts his headset down. And he goes to his room and he unplugs everything and he acts weird. The number one sign I think that you should look out for if you have a teen who has maybe done all of these things or just a few, do they have tape over their camera? I'm talking about on their computer. Did they put a little piece of tape over it? Why would you do that? I mean, it's pretty fucking smart, but why? Who made you feel like you had to do that? This is something that I've heard a couple of people ask. Why would a kid put tape over their computer? Are they just being safe? Why is my kid not talking to me anymore? They have a bunch of apps, but I don't know the password. What can I do? Get the fucking password, dude. Please get the password. There are a lot of basic things that you can do, but in order to know why you need to do them, you kind of have to know what the risks are. So that's what we're going to talk about, okay? Today, I want to tell you about some of the worst things that can happen on the internet. It's heinous. It's really sad. It's going to be really, really hard to hear. Some of these things are going to be depressing. And if you don't want to start your day off this way, I would save it for later. But they're realities and they're happening all the time. And unfortunately, you know, I've had friends whose kids who are of that age in high school where some things happened to them due to the internet, and it was upsetting. It was really disturbing. There are kids in the paper every day that are essentially, there's no better way to say it, they're committing suicide by the masses because of things that happen in internet world. If this were wrestling, I'd say kayfabe. Shit that really shouldn't matter, but somehow they end up getting so fucking stressed out. They feel so fucking threatened or ashamed, or they end up so fucking blackmailed that they end up doing this. And it's very real. It's not just a Pearl Jam song anymore. Like, kids are actually doing this en masse. And I'm talking like it's a real problem because of everything from being sextorted by a stranger, to blackmailed, to hacked, to threatened. It's really bad. I want to talk to you about how this process happens, um, what to look out for to make sure that your kid isn't at risk, and what you can do that's very, very obvious. Now, a lot of it isn't going to be banning it. And I know that's not what some of you want to hear. Some of you want to hear just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Don't let them on any of these apps. These are the apps not to let your kids have. But the fact of the matter is, it's a lot like sex, isn't it? You know, you can have the sex talk with your kids and you can tell them, don't do this. But chances are they might try, or they're probably going to. So would you rather have the safe sex talk with them, or would you rather let them be at risk of that, of, having a kid very young? I think it's important to have talks that are legitimate and that will work. And I think that banning your kid from a bunch of stuff doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. So I think that we're going to take a step that might be considered a little taboo, but I don't think it is. And I'm going to tell you some of the most extreme things that have happened and that can happen. And I want you to consider telling your kids these. I want you to consider looking into them and finding a way to convey some of these situations to your kids. Because, I mean, I'm not looking to scare straight your kids, but I really think that we need to be honest with them. And the most controversial thing that I would advocate for is don't ban all of these apps. There might be one or two you should, but don't ban your kids from operating on social media because, again, it's like the sex thing. Like if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. They're gonna find a way around it. The best thing that you can do is kind of allow them, but keep an eye on it, Like let them know that if you see these things, do this. Um, Let them on the app, but know their password. Let them on the app, but check it. Ask them who their friends are and actually look at their phone. And I'm going to teach you some things that you can do just in case you got a sneaky little Hugin for a teen and you're not too sure that they're being honest with you. And I'm not doing this so that you can embarrass your kid or invade their privacy. And I'm also not doing this so that, you can ruin your bond with them or, become like an overly concerned parent. This is more for the people who do see some signs of something going on and you're not sure what, and your kid's heavily online, or you just start noticing weird apps and you don't know what they do. Um, and there's some of this stuff that's going to be super fucking basic and some of it that's going to be very, very intricate. Okay. And I also want you to try to be realistic with this. It's easy to say, hey, listen, just tell your kid no, or tell your kid to be honest with you. Sometimes they're not. You got to go a little Todd Grizzly, as I like to say. You got to invade their privacy a little bit, especially when it gets to a point where you notice visible changes in them. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a child psychologist. Consider me a nobody. But the stuff that I'm going to tell you about is very real. And I can tell you kind of what's going on and how the process works based on things that I've seen in some of the most fucked up parts of the internet. And I've seen this because, some of the jobs I've had to take involve seeing people discuss things. And it's not always for everyone. And most of the time it's fucking horrid. And it's like, what? And then I end up nosy and finding out about it. And then not just that, but like the news, life, my friends' kids, the shit they tell me. I've taken that and a lot of experiences that you guys have had, and I've looked into a lot of what's going on. And also some of it I just see because I'm online a lot. And it's like, okay, I think I've got a pretty good idea of some ways that we can look out for the kids and keep them safe without banning the internet or making them hate you. Okay. So first, I have some general ideas. These are just very general things that I think are the basics, if you will. Excuse me. If you can log into your kids' apps, let's say you already, know what apps your kids are using and you're pretty sure that you know what they're doing, you trust them, they don't seem to be hiding anything from you, but there's just a couple of things that are bugging you. You just, it could be a number of different things, but you just know that there's something wrong. Maybe they're lying about something. You hear them up on the phone all night with somebody and you don't know who it is and they won't tell you who it is. And They tell you they don't even go to this school, and then you notice a weird number on the phone bill, and it's from fucking Canada or somewhere else. And it's like, what the fuck? Who do they know there? One of the things that you can do when this is kind of a situation and you do know their password, you know everything about them, but you trust them, you're not going to invade it. And you look and you see nothing. It seems all normal, but there's still something off. This is when you're going to want to go to settings, go to all their apps, every app they use, especially if it's something like Telegram, WhatsApp, something with encryption, even Facebook. You're going to go to their app. You're going to log in. If you have their login, that's great. If not, make them log in. If they won't, well, fuck. I don't know what to tell you. Punish them somehow. Take something away. I don't know. That's where your parenting comes in. But the goal is you need to get to their settings. You need to go to their user settings and you need to download user data history. That's going to take everything they deleted. It's going to put it in a nice document so you can see every interaction they had, everybody they added as a friend. You can compare it to what you see at face value. And whatever your kid has in the trash, whatever your kid has missing from the face value portion, that's the goods. Take away, subtract what you don't see, and that's what your kid's lying about. You have a document that shows you everything Jen McCabe did, every text she deleted. You're gonna have to do this with your kids using their user data. So many fucking apps, almost all of them allow you to do this. Facebook lets you do this. WhatsApp lets you do this. Snapchat lets you do this. Telegram lets you do this. Almost all of the encrypted ones. Hello, Daisy Live Love. We're having a discussion today, Mama. Get ready. Get ready. I'm sorry, I'll go back. Telegram is terrifying. But here's another thing. Telegram was started. It's kind of gotten a bad rap, and I see exactly why, because it fucking deserves it. It's had a lot of problems. It has allowed people to create a whole new version of the Silk Road that is quicker and easier to access. And there's very few security checks and age checks and verification on that app. Makes it really easy for people to share material that isn't good and for people to dabble in things that legally they shouldn't be able to dabble in. And here's another thing. Wait, what? Oh, I thought that happened to you. I was like, your teen did what? I can imagine going to court because my preteen sued me for not sharing the Wi-Fi. Well, you know what? Fuck them. Get a better lawyer than your preteen. You have to. You have to at this point. It's really great. And also, when you get your Wi-Fi set up, there are programs, there are applications, and there are Wi-Fi companies where you can regulate that shit. There's a ton of them. You can literally regulate your Wi-Fi. What goes in, what goes out. Who's using it and for how long? You can shut it the fuck down. You can literally physically take their phone away at night. There are things that you can do. Or you can monitor. Now, you don't necessarily have to get like keystroke software or anything. You could, if you're really that concerned. The Telegram guy did just get arrested. Oh, yeah. So about Telegram. So that started out as like a means for protest because Putin wouldn't let people communicate with each other. And there were like, you know, people who were conscientious objectors and people who were straight up activists who said we need a way for people to communicate in wartime or to communicate with the outside so that we can escape. And they developed it as a means for communication for people who are under harsh dictatorships. And now it has turned into a fuck palace for pedos. And it's wild. It's really wild. Good night, Bun Bun Jacks. Thank you for stopping by. We'll be here in the morning. Yes, it is one of the apps Stefan was using. Absolutely. Yeah, it is. That's the thing. Them having them is a benefit because you can keep track of your kids, right? Absolutely. So, like, instead of regulating and taking away, I'm going to advocate for, and I would suggest that you consider, letting them know these are the possibilities. These are why I want to know these things. Be honest with them. This is how this shit works. This is how people can scam you. And I just want, if you just show me and let me do some password checks, and once in a while, the CO is going to come in and toss your bed around and make sure that you don't have any paraphernalia. If you were in jail, then we're good. You can talk to whoever you want, but just make sure don't give them your phone number. Don't give them your address. Don't tell them what high school you go to. Like, these are things that you have to tell your kids. If you send any pictures of you, I'd like to approve it first, and I'd like to know who the person is. Some things to stay away from, just general. Back to what we were talking about. Some things to stay away from. Does the person never give you a a one-on-one face-to-face, or your kid, I should say? Is it a kid who you think is the same age? Or is your 15-year-old boy talking to a 15-year-old girl? Because that's what they think they're talking to. You need to FaceTime with them. You need to meet their parents through the phone. And the way to do that is to let your kid know, if you want to continue, then we got to do it this way. If your kid says, well, her parents won't, well, then you got to shut this shit down, unfortunately. There are ways to block specific people and IPs. I will make you a list of different programs and technology that can do that. However, I would also ensure that these people are who they say they are. You need to have a FaceTime. You need to at least speak to one parent, and you need to, if they want your address, you can't give it to them until we confirm theirs. Shit like that. Like, we need to make sure that this is a real person you're talking to, and that it's okay with their parents. These are the type of things that absolutely need to be done. If this kid all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're going to talk about men. We have a whole section for the boys and the girls, you know? If we have, and yeah, if you make sure you have the Find My iPhone app on all the time. I mean, if you could fucking microchip them, do it. But for sure, whatever you do, just make sure that you notice the little things. If your kid has crypto, explain to them. You don't need to ever tell anyone on the internet ever that you have crypto. If your kid has crypto, they shouldn't be in crypto subreddits, okay? Because if somebody can track your kid and see how much crypto they have, your kid is going to be vulnerable. And that's what we're going to talk about. And we're splitting this up by gender, okay? We've got an age range, we've got a gender, okay? We're going to get into that. Again, let's get back to some more basics. You need to log into their apps. And if they have deleted content, you need to go upload it from upload user data in the settings. No matter what the app is, you can do that. You can check on it, right? You need to check for an app called Calculator. It's just like the calculator app you would know, but it's often used as a front or a cover for other apps they shouldn't have. For example, you would click on a calculator. You'd think a calculator would pop up, right? We've talked about this in the past. Instead, what pops up is a dating app, something called like Hinged, maybe Meet Me, maybe even just TikTok. They can hide apps within apps. So not only should you be looking at the apps they have, but you should be clicking on every icon on their phone, because it's not just calculator either. They can take an icon for Google. If you've ever seen two Google icons and it says Google and they're both on the same phone, why do you have two? Because one of them you can click and boop, opens up a dating app that you didn't know your kid had. Crazy. Simultaneously, these work for lovers that you think are cheating. If they're communicating daily with someone through a video game, make sure that you make it clear to not exchange personal information with them. If they don't want to do this and they don't want to seek your approval, you need to insist on seeing this person's face through FaceTime and or speaking directly to their parents if you can. If that's something that you could do as a parent, do it. Ask for the full name and their place of residence and confirm it. Ensure that they're both real. Keep an eye on how many people are talking to them. And this is also if you choose to do this. Make sure they're of the appropriate age. Try to establish they are authentic prior to ever offering any personal info up to them. If it's not an exchange with the parents involved, it shouldn't really be happening, should it? They should be in a place where they can tell you, I have an internet friend, I like them, we want to hang out. And at that point, you should go with them. There should never be a situation where any teen goes out with another teen that they met on the internet without a parent. And even if you are going, you should be doing these checks anyway, because the amount of gangs that use these techniques to lure boys to beat them and rob them and girls for sex trafficking is insane. It really is. And adults, they do this to adults. Now, if you're doing monthly or weekly checkups, that's very, very helpful on their social media. Make sure that they are maintaining the password that they told you they had. I am going to provide you with a list shortly of the most notable apps that are used by predators and apps that you need to learn about. And just because they are used by predators doesn't mean that it's all predators. It can be just like Discord. We have a Discord, but so do predators. Anybody can use any part of the internet. You just need to know how to look out for it, okay? So I want to give you some examples, all right? I did this in some past episodes of Duty Ron, by the way, in some early videos on my channel, so you can kind of know what's out there. But I'm going to show you a website that actually has one of the most comprehensive lists, and I absolutely love it. before I do that, I'm going to tell you about a couple of cases that are real life cases that are pretty spooky dooky and they suck, but they ended up working out because at least the girls were returned. One of them is 12-year-old Emily Hughes. She was missing for over a week in Houston. You've heard me comment on her in the past. She used a dating app called Tagged. It was a live stream dating app. Her mother, and the reason I used her as an example, her mother was 100% online with her daughter. They shared a TikTok. She knew everything her fucking daughter was doing. She knew all of her passwords, yet her daughter had the Tagged app and she was using her iPad, I believe, or her notebook from school. So her mom didn't see that. She ended up getting picked up by an adult male who essentially, I mean, he kidnapped her. It was over a week before she was found in Missouri City or near Missouri City where she was kidnapped from. The fact that she was found and returned to her family was insane. Absolutely insane. She was extremely lucky. She was super young. She was in a sex trafficking capital of the US. There are like 5 or 6 huge hubs. Houston is one of the biggest. This guy was a sex predator who happened to have a wife and a child, a baby, and he had her in a U-Haul and was busted at a gas station trying to flee. He ended up running from the cops, getting chased down, and busted. The fact that her mom was so well aware of everything, and yet somehow she still found a way to get tagged, which is a really spooky app. Like it's an adult dating app, but it doesn't really do much to regulate users. So there's a lot of kids who are now using it. She was essentially groomed and convinced to leave the house out the window. She got into a truck. He obviously was not what she expected. A week later, they're busting him at a gas station. She's in a U-Haul with him. Terrifying. Around that same time, 14-year-old Ella Jones, who we've talked about before, she was groomed via the app Omegle, which is a lot like chat roulette. It's a video app. You get hooked up with randos in the area. You can also expand it to anybody in the world. She ends up talking with an adult. She's in Washington. He's in Michigan. His name was Keith. Only her friends knew about it. Her mom didn't even know about this guy. And again, her mom knew her passwords. She had actually just been punished for running away before and doing some shit on the internet. All right. Her mom took it so seriously that she was like, I'm monitoring everything you do. And they had a good symbiotic relationship with the internet at that point. She thought she knew everything that her kid was doing. She thought her kid trusted her. And just like Amani, or she thought she could trust her kid. I'm sorry. Just like Amani, Ella was groomed via Omegle. That shut down specifically because predators were using it to groom kids. He took it to Discord. He convinced her, let's go to Discord. So she starts talking to this adult, a 30-something-year-old sex predator named Keith from Michigan. He not only groomed her, he allowed himself to be seen on video and communicated with her friends and would like vape and tell them about big guy shit, try to impress them. Her friends knew about Keith. They communicated with him. They saw videos of him and talked to him on videos. And he talked to these kids. She ends up leaving out her window, getting in a car. A rideshare took her to a hotel or some shit. He picks her up, drives her all the fucking way from Washington to Michigan. They met again on Omegle, ended up on Discord, and at that we all use. Her mom monitored her very well. They had a good relationship, and this still happened. Her friends knew. They knew everything about Keith, and they gave that info to her mom. Thank fucking Christ. It was about a month before she was rescued from the middle of fucking nowhere in Michigan. This fucking pervert was a multi-sex offender. Like over 10 fucking past charges. It's fucking wild, dude. Historically speaking, apps like Omegle, Chat Roulette, Instagram, Reddit, Discord, Facebook, hell, even AOL Instant Messenger, if we're being honest, back in the day, Meet Me, plus 1,000 more. They could be used and have been used to target minors. Some apps make it extremely easy, though. These are like Kick. You remember Kick, right? I told you, if your husband or boyfriend has Kick, dump them right away. They absolutely are doing something fucked up. It is one of the leading apps for predators seeking out young girls. Live.me or live.me, however you want to fucking say it. It's a streaming app that sexual predators use to earn coins to pay for photos of children online. What the fuck? Wouldn't you know that right away? Would you know that right away seeing that in your kid's phone? That's why it's important to look at a lot of the lists that come out annually. And I'm going to show you one of them right now. I'm going to show you a couple of them, okay? There are lists that are put out by tech experts, by the FBI, by law enforcement that work with these situations. And these lists tell you what the apps are that are the leading luring apps for predators, how they work, what they are, what the logos look like, and how these predators use them. They do one every year, but really, I think every 3 months, about 3 to 4 months, I would say, you should be checking for them because they're constantly being updated, like just constantly. It's really crazy because there are so fucking many. There are so many. There are 2 websites I found that had a pretty good list. One of them was updated in March of 2023, and the other one's from 2024. And I want to show them to you. And I'm going to put here, let me take down this banner because I'm sorry, guys. You guys make sure you go to YouTube Bad Actors and OHNO, oh no, underscore Uncle Frank. All right. So I'm going to put, or I'll just put this in the chat and then I will put it below this video. This is the first page we're going to go to, and this is about unsafe mobile apps. And I did go through and check out some of these apps, and I do contest that this is a really good list. Or not contest, what's the word? I confirm. This is a good list. Let me show you this shit. Let me share. I'm going to present to you the page. Okay. So this is from the voice of blackcincinnati.com, which great fucking list, dude. Child predators are getting creative and using social media apps to lure children. Know the apps children are using and learn what they do. Now, the reason I picked this list is because it had Ask FM on it. And this is important because there's some apps like Ask FM that are really old. They're really old, but they're still being used and they have a comeback. Comeback apps are apps that have always been around. Primarily, they suck. But because they suck and nobody really fucks with them and nobody really monitors them, they're kind of dead in the water, almost like MySpace, right? Imagine starting a MySpace account this week. So there are websites like Ask FM and a couple of others that I consider dead in the water apps. It is an app where you can ask anonymous questions and people do get cyberbullied and people do interact privately. And that's why it has become a place where, let's say you go, I'm 15 and I have acne. And you want a legit answer to a question. Well, if somebody was seeking out a 15-year-old boy who had acne, boom, they can check it. They can check the questions. How do you know if you've gotten your first period? Boom. You type in any question, see who asked it. And this is a great way to target kids, and they know that. But it's an old fucking app. It's dead in the water. So what happens is a lot of these predators, they'll go find apps that already exist that are not monitored, and they'll infiltrate them. They'll make them pop again. It's almost like a cult classic movie. All of a sudden, everybody loves Donnie Darko. But when it was in the theaters, no one wanted to fucking go see it. That's kind of how Ask FM is. Badu. Keegan Kline had this app. It's a dating and social media app for adults. Allows users to chat and share photos and videos based on location. Interesting, right? That's not good. That's essentially a snap map. Best secret folder. Remember we were talking about Calculator? Which, by the way, right here, Calculator Plus. Best secret folder. It hides password protected explicit content and then provides decoy videos and alarm settings. So just in case you're on to the calculator, they'll even make a fake video to make it look like it's real. So you click in the folder and then you see a video that's harmless and you go, nope, man. But then when you click the video, boom, that's where all the content is. Bumble, dating app, big time. Grindr is a dating app targeted towards the LGBTQ community. However, there are kids who hop on it and try to use it. Hilly, a dating app that allows users to browse photos, engage in chats, and send private videos and more. Holla, a video chat app that encourages users to meet people locally. This is another one Keegan had, I believe. Hot or Not is old as fuck, dude. Yet here we are. People are using it for that. Kick. I said it a million times. I'll say it again. It's the worst, dude. It's the worst for that. Next to Telegram, as far as what's been infiltrated, oh, that's one of them. Remember this? We talked about this. Live.me or live.me, however you want to say it. Meet me. Keegan had this. Moco Space is a big one. This one's popping off recently. Monkey is a live video chat that connects users to strangers worldwide, offers group chat rooms and private message options. By the way, Moco Space, it's a dating app that offers to connect with teens via text messages or voice calls. This was on my Stefan Stearns list in my video. Plenty of Fish. Scout is a big one. It's private photos. For some reason, it's popping off. Scout with a K, not C. Don't forget that. Snapchat. Remember we talked about Snap Maps? It's location-based. TikTok. Obviously, WhatsApp. Whisper is one that not a lot of people have heard of. And Zoosk. But I was shocked to see how many people use that app. It is very weird. It is very bizarre how many AI pictures are on a lot of these profiles. Now, the great thing about the Voice of Black Cincinnati is they include a counter plan. What do you do when your teen is out of control and has a Badu or a TikTok or a Zoosk? Why, you get one of these beta tapes that help. Is this likely an ad? Maybe, but I did click through these. These are pretty good fucking tools. Almost all of them. This one's a bit much. Like offering Spyrix is a bit much, but here's where I'm going to highly recommend Spyrix. If you live in an area, if you live in Houston, if you live in Miami, if you live in Salt Lake, if you live somewhere where there's a high as fuck sex trafficking rate for your kid's age range, and you are concerned that somebody is talking to your kid or your kid is making plans to meet somebody, that's when you want to fuck with the keylogger. This is what I was talking about earlier. Keystrokes, passwords, and screenshots while they are logged into the computer. If your kid's done it before and you want to know if they're going to do it again, this is it. This is it. Web Watcher, extremely good as well. Extremely good as well. You can literally watch what they're doing online. These are for the parents that have kids who have been formerly trafficked, formerly targeted. Somebody is talking to them and you know it and it's wrong and you want them to stop. Or they're vulnerable or you're in a very vulnerable area. These are the apps to get. When you're really, really concerned, when you think it's already happening, this is what you want to get. Now, there's another list. Let me stop sharing the screen real quick. There's another list that I'm going to share. And then after I share this, we're going to watch a light palette cleanser video because then we're going to talk about something really fucked up. And I just want to prepare you, okay? This Safe Lagoon is one of the best lists I've ever seen, and I highly agree with every single choice on it. I've included a link in the chat, and I will include one below the video because this goes through and it gives you a basic rundown of what the app is about, creative canvas, viral velocity, as in how many people are on it. What do you do? What can they show? Complexities that parents can't ignore. Moderation mishaps, privacy perils, addictive content. It gives you everything you need to know about TikTok. Then it comes to Snapchat and it gives you everything you need to know. Now we could go through all these, but it would take all fucking day and it's a great list. Ask FM and it tells you if there's anonymity, if they can track your IP. What can these people get? What did they learn? Did they know the location? How does the algorithm pick who it pairs you with if it is something like a video chat service? I love that Safe Lagoon made a website where anybody can go check this out. We see Instagram. We see House Party is wild. I cannot believe kids are fucking with this. It's interesting. Holla, younger crowd. Some of these are targeted specifically towards kids, if you can believe it or not. Blender. This is like it's basically like, it's almost like geocaching people. I don't know how to explain it. Zoomerang. This was kind of piggybacking off of the, there was one specific app that was like a picture app where kids could add to it. Almost like how people would add to a piece of art. That's kind of what this is. It's kind of shooting a picture back and forth. people to add to and take away. Parlor, Jesus Christ, that is a place where your kids, they are definitely at risk of being indoctrinated or signed up for some weird lists. Hoop, Voxer, Tumblr, Bumble, VCSO is a big one, especially if your kid's into the hype beast shit. Okay. So this is Bigo. There's just so many. Confide, Omegle, IMVU, WeChat, Telegram. By the way, WeChat, I think Stearns and Klein had. Telegram as well. Periscope, Stearns had, for sure. For sure. And that one's crazy because that's like you're watching people in real time just living their life doing nothing. And some people will put very sexual things on it. Anybody can log in anonymously. Roblox. It even includes the video games. X, Yarn, Chatmaster, Among Us. I love this game. I play it all the time. I hate that it's become that, but yeah, there are people who will target you by slowly getting to know you in Among Us, becoming a friend, and then you find out they're not who you think they are. It's really sad, but it can happen. Telling them vault apps, and then it explains jailbreak programs, hazards of using social media apps that are dangerous, how to talk to your kid about apps. This, honestly, probably some of the best advice. Whoever wrote this, fantastic article. I'm definitely including it in the description. I do want to move on to the next thing. I was going to do a palate cleanser, but I'm just getting back to the chat. Let's do a checkup with you guys. How are we doing? Let's get to the point. I decided I could try to explain the part 2 because yesterday part 1, when we were talking about keeping kids safe, we were talking about logging into their apps, finding deleted content, i.e., going into their settings and downloading user data, right? And you can do this for all kinds of apps. You can do this for Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, all of it, right? Then check for a calculator app or a hidden app, something that is used to replace files. So you take a bunch of files and you hide them in something that looks like something else, right? We talked, I think we brought up, I don't know if I actually brought this up yet, but I told you guys about a couple of cases where apps had ended up being kind of the catalyst for kids going missing or the means by which they were lured or groomed. And we talked about 12-year-old Amani Hughes, I believe, and Ella Jones. I know we talked about that. And then we briefly touched on how I think we did the beginning of Delphi and how people thought that because of Snapchat, SnapMap, and Keegan Klein connection via the Anthony Shots account, a lot of people were really concerned and they were calling it the Snapchat murders. That was a big deal. And I did show you guys a couple of apps, but I'd like to show you some more today and I guess continue what we were talking about. But I'd also like to tell you about one of the main reasons I decided to make this video. And it was because choose this topic. A lot of you were messaging me, telling me stories about your friends' kids, your kids, people and situations that they went through involving something that is all too common these days. A lot of the stories that I heard ended with serious repercussions. Some of them were mainly concerns, wondering, hey, is this something I should be looking out for? And they revolve around a very sensitive topic. And it's the kind of topic that, oddly enough, almost everyone who wrote to me, except maybe 2 people, said the same thing. And I've thought this too. The hard part about researching this topic is that in order to research it and what to do, you have to type things into Google that seem like they could get you in trouble. If you have to work or type in how to groom a minor or how sex predators groom minors or how do people trade CSAM, you're afraid you're going to be on a list, right? Or how do I word this just so that I don't get lost? Just to educate yourself on some really basic issues involving children being groomed for a sexual purpose or even more nefarious, which, believe it or not, there is a more nefarious purpose. It's a very sensitive subject matter, but in order to educate yourself on it, just having to look up what to do causes a lot of people to not learn because they genuinely are I don't want people to think I'm doing it. I don't want people to see my Google search history and go, oh, fuck, I don't want to get flagged and have cops at my house. So that's really difficult, right? Because What if your kid is being sextorted or somebody is trading CSAM of your kid, or you think someone is hurting your kid and you're trying to figure out what the signs are? Like, you don't have any evidence, but for some reason you have a gut feeling. You might go, well, maybe I should just report it right away, but you don't want to ruin someone's life if you're mistaken. Just all these weird little nuances that can come along with a Google search and seeing shit on court TV and on, pretty much any YouTube channel about crime where people are like, why did he search that? Will automatically make your butthole pucker. And you're like, fuck, I can't search for this. I'm going to get in trouble. Simultaneously, when you do search for it, a lot of it is just like, call this helpline, call this helpline, call this helpline. I do agree that helplines are awesome. They're very helpful. In fact, I'm going to put a whole list of them below this video when it's done for where you can go and who you can call for that. However, some people need more than to talk it out, or they can't talk it out because of people in their environment. Some people don't even want their phone number associated with that kind of helpline until they're sure they need to call it. Some people aren't aware in any way, shape, or form what could possibly be the thing going on with their kids because you've checked all of their social media and you're pretty well aware and you have a good relationship with them, yet there's something going on. They're acting weird. They do spend a lot of time online. And there are some things that can make your kids particularly vulnerable to all kinds of predators, be it financial, sexual, or for some sick purpose. And this is the more nefarious part, and this is where it's a trigger warning, but there are people whose main goal is to just convince your kids to kill themselves. That's it. Much in the way we see kids going around killing each other at schools, like what happened yesterday. Much in the way we see cyberbullies telling people, just fucking kill yourself. Like, much in the way we see, like, that little girl with the bad eyebrows who told her boyfriend through text, do it, you're a fucking pussy if you don't, and basically bullied him to death. Like we see kids do every day. We see an insane amount of gay kids hanging themselves, killing themselves because of being bullied at school. And I say gay kids, it happens to all kids, but like, all kids can get bullied, but seriously, it's a really bad problem among kids when it comes to being gay or straight who are, aligning or allies with the gay community. Kids who are, they're like pretty sure that they're not born in the right body, and they really genuinely feel like the opposite sex. They get the shit bullied out of them instead of being able to have the opportunity to really like figure out what they want for themselves and decide on their own and being comfortable no matter at what point they are before or after. They will still get bullied, and it's become such a big problem specifically in that group that we're seeing so many news stories on it. And it's also bled over into other groups. There are kids that, I mean, there are all these stories of like, this kid's like the fucking king of the football team and everybody fucking loves him and he's got a perfect home life and his parents love him and they're rich and they're fucking, they're the fucking bees knee. Like, there's nothing wrong. He seems like perfect kid, happy, strong jawline. Everyone loves him. Girlfriend, healthy, not experiencing any trauma, no history of depression. Yet, boom, they're dead. And then the parents look at their phone and they find out, oh my God, like our son just got bled of $100,000 of crypto that we didn't know he had. Oh shit, our son sent somebody pictures of him, of his penis, thinking they were a girl. And it turns out it's an old guy from Yugoslavia telling him that if he doesn't send him a bunch of money or that crypto, that he's going to come after his family. And they've got pictures of our house, like shit like that. This is so common. And the other common thing is convincing kids to out themselves for their sexuality or what they, their gender or like what they like to do that might be seen as embarrassing to a teen. We're old. We don't give a fuck. We talk about all kinds of crazy shit on this channel. Kink shaming is just dumb as fuck. It's just something like, even if someone does kink shaming, it's like, who gives a shit at this point? We're old. Who cares? Kids care though. They're still at that point in life where they do give a fuck, where they're trying to make friends. We were talking about how basically, okay, we went through the boys. So the thing with boys that tends to be a big thing is like a combination of young men getting groomed online to embarrass them, and really across all spectrums, like, all genders, all sexes of kids, to embarrass, intimidate, and lead to self-harm. It's probably, from what I've seen just statistically, because I found a couple of different statistics, they were all a little different, but it's pretty overwhelming that that group is probably like the smallest out of the ones we're talking about. But it is still a huge problem, is stranger intimidation for the purpose of harm. However, it's more likely that it's gonna be someone close to them or someone from school, boyfriend, girlfriend, someone bullying them. But if it is someone from afar, just know that they do exist, these scammers and hackers, if you will, but more of scammers, I would say, um, with the purpose of intentionally harming a kid just to harm them. The second group that is pretty large is the sexually motivated, right? People who are in it for disgusting, undesirable, horrible things, like CSAM and harming your kid and trying to simply get material. I would say Keegan and Delphi was definitely a perfect example of that. He was someone who, when he was of age, he would do a sort of sextortion where he would convince young girls that he was this hot guy, Anthony Shots, convince them to send him pictures, and then use those pictures to basically threaten or blackmail them by saying, if you don't send me more pictures, then I will release these to your friends, family, or school. So that's very common, especially among young girls. But with teen boys, it tends to be focused not just on video, but on embarrassing things like their sexuality, things that they perhaps they shouldn't be embarrassed by, but they might be because they're young, you know? Simultaneously, there's a whole other group that it's not necessarily to spread the CSAM so much as to possess that or something about them that is embarrassing, anything really that they can blackmail the kid with because they want money. The most vulnerable can be kids with crypto, kids who have pictures in the background of like a nice house, a nice car, kids who talk about having a lot of money online, but it can also just be anybody. And it's very, very common. Stuff like go get your parents' credit card and give me the number. And if you don't, I know this, that, and the other about you now, or I will send this. Depending on the kid and the parent relationship, depending on how embarrassed the kid is or how upset the kid is, depending on their mood, their temperament, how they were raised, all sorts of things can determine how the kid responds. There have been far too many instances frequently where kids respond by taking the route of suicide, as in they are so ashamed or embarrassed or scared, or they just don't want to deal with the repercussions and they feel like there's no getting out of it. And they do that. There are other kids who are in that smaller tier that end up doing it because they are literally a part of a situation where they are convinced to, in a sense, I would say more forced based on threats, blackmail, extortion, all sorts of things. There are young girls who have had to see content of theirs when they were young or as they are currently being put on the internet on porn sites, which make it very difficult to get it taken down. And then the other big group that is a huge problem that is pretty much everywhere is sex trafficking, physically luring them into a situation where they are then trafficked. This tends to affect a lot more young females than males, but it is a real problem. Let's go to the chat for a second. Saw something interesting, Miss Shorty. I saw what you said, and I need to go back because I didn't get to read it all. But it looked like, and if any of you guys, you don't have to talk about this because it is a touchy subject. But if you have a story to share about something like that that happened to you, please feel free because it is really common. And that's why I'm bringing it here. It's so common that some of you emailed me about it, quite a few of you, not just recently, but over the past few months with stories, situations that have to do with that. I have a dear friend whose son's best friend went through that. Um, and I've just seen it a lot recently in the local news, and I've heard stories from friends whose kids have gone through it, and it's a lot to comprehend why someone would do that or put a kid through that. But it's everything from cyberbullying to extortion to CSAM to trafficking to stealing crypto or trying to get them to give them some sort of financial compensation, draining their cash app, all sorts of things. And some of it isn't necessarily targeted at them just because they're a kid. They're targeted at them because they're vulnerable and the person doesn't even know anything really about them, but they can figure it out through their screen name, find more about them and then just spook them, even though the kids told them nothing, spook them by saying, look at all I know about you. And that's enough sometimes to get these vulnerable kids, because if they're communicating back and they believe the VIG or the scam, they're automatically considered vulnerable because they're buying into it And sometimes it's not a scam. Sometimes it's real. These people will do fucked up things, but mostly, I'm not even gonna say mostly, a lot of the time is what I'll say, it is a scam and they're not gonna do anything. Although there are situations, especially with sex trafficking and with CSAM and especially sextortion, where it is real and they do take that step and then threaten you. So they've already harmed you. You're already a victim. You're already embarrassed. And it's beyond embarrassment. It's completely traumatic and awful. It destroys kids. It destroys their self-esteem. Their vulnerability is at an all-time high. You can start to notice things like their behavior change. I spoke with one woman a while back for some work that I was doing on a story that was going to be in a podcast. And we were talking about kids nowadays and her teen. And she made it very clear to me, like, because her daughter was essentially sextorted, everything got leaked on the internet. And to this day, she's still trying to get that shit taken down. Her girl was 14. It is really fucking hard to explain to a 14-year-old that, like, this is gonna matter one day. Like, no one's gonna know. We're gonna take care of this when you don't know if you can take care of it because it's so widespread. That type of fear in a parent, imagine how fucking nervous the kid is, you know? That's an anxiety that maybe will never go away. It will change how they pick future relationships, how they value themselves, their self-worth. So it's a really important topic, but it's really like disturbing and very taboo for some people to want to talk about. And again, like I was saying earlier when we started the video, part of the one of the, I don't want to say genius, but one of the genius, because really it's like, holy shit, what more of a perfect storm could you ask for? But one of the genius things about putting someone in a horrible situation, if you were evil, like if you're evil and you're trying to be an evil, like you're trying to do something that is going to benefit you no matter what happens, the brilliance, if you will, of this situation, of the type of things that they're doing when it comes to sextortion, is that if parents want to look it up and want to learn about it, they often will stop themselves because they're like, I can't put myself at risk. I don't want to Google that. You know what I mean? That's where it's like, oh, wow, what a perfect way to fuck over a lot of people and scare people out of learning what you're doing. What a perfect way to scare people away from educating themselves on how to stop it or how to fix it or how to get out of it by making it literally ungoogleable. So when they do things like this, a lot of parents will go, no, I don't want how do people get CSAM in my search history? When you're looking at it from a security perspective for your family, that's something that often gets overlooked, but it really is a problem. A lot of people have said, I want to learn about it, but I'm scared to Google it. Can you make a video? Well, damn, how many millions of other parents are scared to Google it, or teens, because they don't want it in their search history? Shit, dude. There it is. Dad, I have a very close friend whose daughter was targeted by a group of these repugnant creatures. The main offender is now in federal jail awaiting trial. Didn't you tell me about this a while back, or was that somebody else? Like somebody else had a very similar situation, I think, Miss Shorty. Very much. Yep. Yeah, there was that website. And then what was the one? Shit, I think it was called something night. I don't remember. Something day. No, not Crazy Days and Nights. It might have been the same one. It was a guy who was it like Up All Night or something? He went to prison. There were quite a few of them. It is terrifying. It puts the kid in a fucked up position. And the reason that I broke everybody into like genders and like I told you about the LGBTQ community and I told you about girls, I told you about boys, I told you specifically about like different groups, even like trans kids fall kind of into their own group because they get trolled a different way. They get threatened and also like kids who aren't out of the closet who identify as gay or something other than what society deems them. This tends to be the catalyst for the threats, for the blackmail. So to pretend that doesn't happen is very detrimental to stopping it, I think. So I think they do need their own class specifically because it's totally unique, different type of blackmail. Because a lot of these people will like threaten to tell their parents or their pastors. And if they're in a place where that could mean anything from a beating to getting sent off to a school to disowned, kicked out of the house, having nowhere to live, everybody in your school finding out, losing a scholarship because you go to a Catholic school, like these are real issues. And it happens. Girls being vulnerable to actual no shit in real life sex trafficking, the way that they are lured and really lured out of the house by a threat or blackmail, that shit's been going on, believe it or not just online, but since like the 80s, the 70s. It's how we were talking about the girls in Houston. That's it was 4 of them, and they killed one girl who they basically like, bullied because they were mad. It was a whole like love quadrangle situation. It was fucked up. They lured a girl out using a boy who wasn't there. There was like a whole bunch of different cases. There was another girl who wanted to go out and hang out with her boyfriend who was an ex-gang member, and she had some mental difficulties, if you will, and everybody thought that it was her who was vulnerable, and they ended up luring out another girl and killing her, and it ended up being that girl's thing. And the whole situation with that was like, what was that, the 90s, 2000s? Well, now they're doing it for the purpose of trafficking, and it's still gangs though. That's what's weird, is that they'll lure you in person, but they'll also be gang stalking you online in real life. Even that could be its own. So we're separating things out here so that you can see all the different ways. With young gentlemen, it seems that the most common tends to be men pretending to be girls. Not just convincing them, send me stuff for the purpose of sextortion blackmail, but a lot of the times, come meet me at a park, come meet me at an ice cream shop. There will be a girl there. She will be pretty. She will want you to go to a secondary location, and then her brothers, her friends, her cousins, or a bunch of dudes who knows what the relationship is with her will jump the kid. People have ended up dead. Grown men have ended up dead this way, but typically lured for the purpose of jumping, killing, robbing, common. Lured for the purpose of crypto is like that again, own thing, because that is a lot of that. The way these kids are exposed is through crypto forums, talking big shit, talking about their funds. It's really hard to tell you how to keep your kids safe when there's so many different types of kids and so many different types of parents and what they'll allow their kids to do, and then so many unique and somewhat simple methods used by these various different groups. You've also got groups that are close to the person. You've got, or people that are close to the person or the kid, people who are far away but friends on some sort of social media platform. And then you've got literal fucking strangers that do buy shit on the dark web or do fish for new people and just take any rando. The Israel keys, if you will. But they have prepared just like him. But it's really just who happens to stop by and is vulnerable, i.e., a lot of hackers. But I would say scammers more than hackers. You've also got sects in Russia, really everywhere, but a lot in Russia. There have been a couple that have popped up even in like Sweden, in like different parts of the world, where it's like little groups that are almost like farms, like bot farms or groups or gangs. And then there are some that are spread out everywhere that come together to specifically do this. It's hard to explain why someone would do it, but it happens. It happens for many purposes, many reasons, and it's happening a lot. It seems scary, like you just want to go, no, don't get on the internet. But I think that there's a better way to navigate it. But to navigate it, we have to understand it. It's hard to understand. So I'm going to show you some videos on it. I do want to read the rest of Miss Shorty's comment. Not really a lot of self-harm, huge trauma. They've been swatted twice too, while they're in Australia. The offenders in the US. That is fucking insane. That is perfect example of what we're talking about. Swatting, if you don't know, is a big thing. It's where people will basically call the police on total strangers and say this person is threatening someone with something horrible, typically a BOMB, something like that. They will say that for the purpose of having the police send a SWAT team to the person's house. There's a guy, H3 podcast. He's had it happen to him a lot. There is an episode of, I want to say Dateline, about a guy who was swatting schools and swatting just individuals, and he was just some like rogue troll. They got an informant who was an undercover police officer to troll the troll. He fell in love with her. She convinced him to show his face, and then boom, he gets busted. But yeah, that's what swatting is, Tracy. It's literally lying to the cops about someone being a threat to national security for the purpose of destroying their life, having the SWAT team come in. And on several occasions, people have been killed that way. There was one in New Jersey where a neighbor got killed because they swatted the wrong house. My son was being threatened, but he was smart enough to tell us. The scammer was imitating my number and got his dad's social security number, and his dad's house was swatted. See, that's another thing. They will get all kinds of information from you and they'll use it in various ways. But swatting is like, typically that is a way to extort someone or to punish someone who doesn't play along, right? So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. That's why it's also a hard topic to learn about, because people don't want to talk about it because they don't want that shit to happen to them, right? I don't know why people do it, but they do it. Dad, I bragged about knowing you today. Very proud to know. So, hey, I brag about knowing you kids every day. I love you, Elizabeth. You're not a cat. You're not a cat. It is scary. It's very scary. And the thing is, one of the reasons we're talking about it is a lot of parents don't know about this. And that's what shocks me is like, unless you watch very niche fucking episodes of shit, unless you're like into BBC News, you might not know about some of it. And the fact that it's international is also stressful because what repercussions come to someone in Germany using a VPN from Boston, swatting someone in South Africa? It's really crazy. A lot of parents don't know about it. So imagine you don't, and your kid gets wrapped up in any one of the things we were talking about. Not only is it hard for people who know about it to figure out how to respond, what if this is new to you and you've never even heard of this shit? Like, what? You got what? You got swatted? Like that, you know what I mean? It's a lot. I would hate to think what the increase in self-deletion has been in the past 5, 10, 20, probably a lot, especially because of COVID. People were locked inside for a long time. In fact, I know it was because of COVID, because that was one of the first statistics we learned in about UCR and about like how UCR rates are different than self-deletion, aka suicide rates, and where you can get that kind of information, and how there's a lot of medical journals that provide that. And they found that there was a sharp increase during COVID and then a decrease after. So they correlated that people being alone with their thoughts too much ups that, which leads me to think about, and I know this isn't beneficial to my argument that he's likely guilty, right? Just my opinion, I should say. But it makes me think about Richard Allen's situation, because we have to think about it when it comes to solitary confinement, right? People were asking me, how long do I think is okay for someone to be in solitary? And part of me thinks it's never okay for someone to be in solitary. But then you think about that. Like I did. It made me think about the COVID statistics. Like, goddamn, so many more people were killing themselves during COVID because they couldn't handle the loneliness. And they were able to technically at least step outside. They were able to order food. They were able to watch Tiger King and fucking start internet fucking social media pages and communicate with people that way. And even with all that, people still did it. So it's kind of weird to put someone who's threatening self-harm into seclusion when we know that seclusion ups that rate, right? Isn't that just making them more suicidal? I don't. And then I was like, fuck, maybe never. Maybe no one deserves to be in there. I don't know. Fucking terrible, right? It is rampant and awful. Being scammed is the worst, most helpless feeling. The intimidation, the threats, pure evil to put people through that. Ugh, I know. And then people can do it as someone else. And like one thing, I know a lot of people like to goof about that show Catfish, but I was really glad it came out. I was glad the documentary came out. The documentary was probably one of the most uncomfortable things that I'd ever seen in modern day involving like the internet, aside from old kid who invented Reddit, who will talk, or he helped start Reddit, and he hacked Pacer, and then the government led him to kill himself. Basically, that's fucked up. Lol, sex shit is fucked up. Like, there's a lot of fucked up internet stories, but like, I really truly feel that that was one of the most fucked up ones. Was like, there's just a lot. There's just a lot going on right now with scamming and with situations involving people getting pushed to a point where they really feel no other outlet or option available to them, and it fucking wrecks everybody, dude. It wrecks the fuck out of families. It's really hard to comprehend why people would do something like that. And you would always think like, is it money? Like what? But here's the thing with Catfish, it was all about love, right? So that was a whole different angle. I was super glad it came out, because even though it made me uncomfortable, the documentary, because at the end you find out that the woman who was catfishing Nev was just like, she had some mental setbacks, a really awful, terrible life. She was extremely lonely. She was dealing with a fucking lot on her plate. It was hard. She had a sad life. It was sad. And in the end, she was just kind of looking for a friend and looking for someone to like her, but her behavior was not okay. It was almost baby reindeerish. But it made everyone uncomfortable because you feel pity for this person, but you're also mad at them. But also, he fell in love and now he's heartbroken. It was all very uncomfortable. But that's the type of shit, that level, ranging all the way up to like elite fucking hackers who are like just in it for money. There are so many dynamics at play with the internet. I think that's what scares me the most. And I think that's why I'm glad that Catfish is out, because it teaches kids that, that might not be who you think you're talking to. If somebody doesn't want to show you their whole face, if they don't want to give you a certain bit of info, don't trust them, right? But at the same time, I'm telling you, don't show anyone your kid's face. Don't trust them, right? So it comes to a point where you need to be of a certain age, I think, to open that window to where you want to communicate with strangers. And if you do, how do you go about it without ending up moited in a Dr. Pepper shirt? LEB, hello. Dude, this is my afternoon. I slept all day. We're good. Use those library computers. Yeah. It petrifies people. It does. Both my kids will not do any social media. They have a unique last name, so my daughter won't go on now either. Yeah. And so that's another thing is there's people. Oh shit. Where do I know that? Hold on a second. I'm writing this down. I feel like I've heard this. We're going to finish this episode, but I do want to talk to you about this later, Miss Shorty. This is wild. I want to talk to you about that later. I'm starring this. Okay. We have a bit of that over here in NZ, but I think we're lucky to be a little island. I know. Yeah. Up all damn night. That's what it was. Up all damn night. That was the fucking website. Kind of like what we are, Up all damn night, but that was a bad website. That kid got in trouble. Yeah, sometimes, but the good part is if it is across state lines and depending on what they do, it can be a federal charge, and they are cracking down really fucking hard on that. And if Interpol is involved, even worse. Yep. It happens to people of all ages, but I do think kids are a little more vulnerable because mainly, here's why we're doing this. It's the kids are in the hands of the parents. We just saw a kid who shot up a school and then the dad is getting charged, right? So if your kid is scamming someone or being scammed, it is going to directly correlate to you because either A, where were you? How did you not know your kid was doing this? Or B, where were you? How did you not know your kid this was happening to your kid, right? So parents, I think, are in a unique position with this as well. I hate how in Australia we can't even find out where, when. Yeah, probably would have solved Mr. Cruel a lot longer, right? Or would have solved it already if they could, mainly. I feel like in New Zealand, I was having a hard time with that. I feel like, okay, I think there might be one Australian resource that could help, but it's not an archive. But we'll have to talk about that, LEB. I am starring that. Yeah, blackmail scams. They make my stomach turn. They should. They should make everyone's stomach turn because they're spooky dookie. Yeah, Miss Shorty's homies went through it. Hello, Ginger Snaps. Hello. Ooh, I like a sticker. That looks like a delicious lemonade. Jeffrey Marsh in plain sight on UT is trying to get kids who think they're trans to contact him secretly. You don't have to tell your parents, kind of crap. Creepy. That is creepy as fuck. I think reaching out to kids based on a specific gender or sexuality is just overall weird. What the fuck? Not cool, dude. I mean, even if it's like, I'll be your safe place. No, you won't, Drake. No, you won't. Leave Millie alone, Hey, Gringo, love your name. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Oh, shit. I got behind. Okay. Even explaining it seems impossible as parents. I feel like here he comes. Right when we're talking about we're talking about swatting. If you're fucking, he's trying to shake his shit again, you guys. Just show him your ass. I'm just going to pause it. Show him your ass. Show him the goods. Dylan, no. He's trying to moon you kids. Get out of here. Get out of here. God damn it. A moon break. We need a moon break. Yeah, it's fucking fucked up. Even explaining it seems, and as parents, I feel like we're permanently a stepper 100. I'm not even a parent. I feel that. It's hard, right? It's a lot. They said my son had a girl tied up in the basement and was about to kill her. Yeah, they say crazy shit, right? That's the type of shit that they say to get people to show up. It's fucking nuts. And they do that, and then people show up at your house and they flash bang, or sometimes they miss your house and they end up killing your neighbor. It's happened so much. And it's usually because, like, oh, your kid beat that kid at Fortnite. It's fucking dumb. It's a terrible world that we live in, and people are fucksticks and idiots. And they do that to little kids. Yeah, so sorry, man. My ex's wife posed with the police and posted pictures about how funny it was. I was so pissed. She could care less about your ex's wife did that? Send me an email, Melissa. Yeah, I bet COVID fucked you up. Because you're all van life, right? And you were van life during COVID. Oh, poor Adam. This is why you're in your Phoenix phase. You have to rise. Rise, son. You've never heard of swatted? Yeah, it's a big thing, especially here in America. It's huge. It also puts the SWAT officers at risk. That's true. Because imagine you're in a right to carry state or some shit like here in Texas. Someone bangs on your door, you pull your gun, they see the gun, someone's going to get shot. It's terrifying, dude. We had to take this door off my son's bedroom during our insane lockdown. Oh, Jesus. We made a fake door. Thank you, guys. I still don't know the extent of the blackmail my son went through before he came to us. He was 21 and lived with his friend, so it took a minute for him to tell us. Dude, let me tell you something. The fact that he came to you and told you is amazing. I'm glad that it didn't get much further than that. And I think that hopefully, you know, I mean, I hope that never fucking happens, but I think that that experience makes you 1,000 times more more of an expert on this subject matter than people who have heard of it and never experienced it. Like, it is terrifying, and to see your kid go through it has to fucking suck, especially like 21, still a vulnerable age. And even worse, like when it's shit like a younger kid, they tend to be more open because they're freaking out and they're just more used to telling mom and dad. But when it's like an older kid, you leave that open. They tend to be more ashamed because they're like, I don't want to look like I failed, right? So you set him up to be in a position where he could come to you at that age, which is probably the hardest age, I think, to get them to tell you when they fucked up. They'll hide that shit forever. So yeah, I props to you, dude, but I'm so sorry you went through that. Hit me up though. I'm very pissed. I'm very pissed that happened to you. My uncle spends about 12 hours a day texting hot young women who try to sell him crypto or get him to cash app them. Everyone in the fam has told him they're not real repeatedly for years. Yeah. I think Tiff, the answer is a Dr. Phil. I'll send you a good link. He's a piece of shit. Dr. Phil's a total piece of shit. But by God, if he didn't cover that repeatedly. And he covers the type of people that I have a feeling your uncle can maybe relate to. And go, well, by God, if it happened to him. You know what I mean? Tell me which TV host he respects, and if I have to deep fake something to get him to listen, we'll do it. We'll do it. Don't worry, you didn't. You started to miss us. Then I came back. I said, I'm going to finish the job. I see her too, Hugin Susie. Good morning, Crafty Chris. We're going late. I got to be out by 4, though. Got to be out by 4. So sad. People adapt. Hard times make a strong character. An old man recently said, getting old is not for the weak. It is not. Especially with all the crazy shit happening now. Like, they always say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, like, how do I fucking download the new Windows? That's all I want to know. How do I get this off my shit? Like, these are things that are new. And if you can't learn the new tricks, then you're going to be left behind. And that fucking sucks when everything's getting automated and digitized. So I feel like that's why we need to have patience. More than anything, we have to have patience. And we have to educate ourselves in a way that makes sense. Which is why I'm like, gotta show him this fucking Dr. Phil I saw, Tiff. You know what I mean? He prefers to live in a fantasy world and gets pissed at you. You know, you could redirect him to NPCs. If anything, at least he's talking to an actual human. You know what I'm talking about? The girls who are like, where do I go get the beats? Where do I go get the rag? How do I find this club? And they're like, get the wheat, get the wheat. I don't know. They're like saying shit, repeating it and moving their arms like robots. And old dudes pay the money to say words that are literally the most non-sexual. It's like gamer shit. That way he could throw a buck at him like 100 times and feel very satisfied, but he's not really getting scammed by an old dude. He might just need attention from like a stripper. Have you taken him to a strip club? Dude, I did see that. Is Nev okay? I did see that. I hope he's okay. I need to go check up on it. OB. Hello, Steph. Sells seashells by the seashore. Clearly Canadian. Elaine. Potato, scrunchy. Love to see you. It's fucking huge. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Send that shit to me. I'm going back to catch up at the beginning. We'll be listening and looking. Excellent. Okay, let's get to the bottom. We're close. The cops determined my son's predator was international, and they said that is where it ends because they don't send individual cases to Interpol. Oh, well, then if it's not a big ring of criminals, it's likely not international. Is it your ex-husband's wife using a VPN? I don't want you to share any personal information with me beyond that, but email me because I'd like to know what department that is. I have a feeling I know. You sent cat vids to me? Excellent. Starring that. Excellent. If any of you guys ever gets wrapped up into some shit like this and you don't know what to do, you can contact me and I can try to put you in touch with someone who can help you. It is going to be a lot of resource and helplines because that's all that exists. In addition to maybe some local jurisdictions, but cybercrimes units are typically the place to go. And you usually have to file like a police report with them first, but do it immediately and record any and all threats of violence. I do not recommend continuing interaction or trying to trace them or trying to meet them anywhere, anything like that. Immediately contact your local police. And if they don't respond, then you contact the localist FBI office, the closest FBI office, which, believe it or not, you can look up by state. Okay, let's keep going. It's not your fault. Spelling report, you have great spelling and grammar. Mine is much worse. Adam and these are confused, vulnerable kids. His YouTube stuff is so fucking creepy. Yeah. You talking about that dude? It's a lot. And there's also a woman who was like breastfeeding her kid for money. And she ended up getting, I think, prison time. It's a lot. Yeah, no, you can be overly emphatic. We're slipping in and out of trauma because we're out of traumatic conversation, which I don't mind. We're going to take little breaks and go through the chat here and there because it is a lot. In fact, let's do a palate cleanser before we continue because I have to find you the video about this that I'd like you to see. It is heavy, but it needs to be seen, I think. It really needs to be seen. And I'm not even kidding. I'm not talking about this one. This one I'm just showing you as the palate cleanser, but the other video needs to be seen. So let's watch this for a second while I pull that up. How about that? Here you go. Palate cleanser, and then we get into the heavy stuff.
Yolanda Saldivar? Yolanda Saldivar? She killed Selena. Yolanda! 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 Yolanda Saldivar? Yolanda Saldivar? Yolanda! Yolanda Saldivar? Yolanda! Yolanda Saldivar? Yolanda Saldivar? She killed Selena. Yolanda! 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 Yolanda Saldivar?
Okay. I'm going to show you. Let me pull up. There's a few of them here. But I had them in a... Hold on one second. I'm going to pull this up over here. I'm just getting it ready, kids. I did pull an Australian one for you. And then I tried to focus on kids from like different places in the US with somewhat different situations and backgrounds and whatnot, because I want you to see the different ways this can happen. And I'm hoping that we don't get fucking copyright struck. But I do think it's really important to highlight the different ones. Hold on. I'm just pulling up the next one. This is actually, okay, this is kind of, it's not a goofy video. It's definitely not, but it's It's set up weird. There is a Psych2Go video that I'm going to link for you guys that's kind of old, but I think it's important because it also helps you understand what it is. And there's one that has to do with legislation. So if your state doesn't have this legislation and you want to do something about it and you're political, I wish Hudson was here because I think that he would be really, he brought up something like this to me and I was trying to figure out how to basically say it, you know what I mean? Like how to present it as a doable idea for anybody. And I found a really good video about somebody who did. So here, I think I've got a nice diverse list for you. So you can see a lot of different ways this can happen. A lot of them are like local news stories, and some of them are like things that you can do that I think are helpful. There was one video I had left out that I just want to make sure I got in there. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to pull this up. Yeah, the snorts of protest are out of control. Out of control. He is beyond cute. Goats in pajamas is my jam. I'm so glad that you found this. I'm so glad that you found this and showed it to her. The goats in pajamas. I should have said that, but you know what I'm saying. And also, don't worry about it, LEB. I'm happy to show it to you. I'm sure that the internet's probably breaking up right now because for some reason I have one bar. Why is that happening? Give me 1 second. Let me adjust this bullshit. Okay, there. But I don't mind. I don't mind at all because, you know, a lot of this people will know about it. You know, they may have heard about it, but the extent of it, especially when it comes to, I'm very surprised at the amount of kids who are actually committing suicide over this shit now. Like that's how bad it's gotten. It makes me wonder, like, why aren't they comfortable talking to their parents? I think that maybe part of it could be that the parent, it's how do you explain this? Like, I'm having trouble explaining it. So I can imagine being a vulnerable teen or something going through that. You know what I mean? Like, whew, it's a lot. So I'm going to let some who went through it explain it to you. Okay? Let's check this out. Here, let me get this to open. And by the way, this is the Australian one. For all you
I was
Aussies.
just genuinely scared. I thought this could really ruin my life. So as fake as these pictures were, the threat was very much real. My heart just, it was a feeling I've never felt in my life before. It just fell out of my chest. And I'd look at my phone and my hands were just shaking.
Mateo became the victim of sextortion after he added someone on Snapchat. They threatened to release fake nudes of him unless he transferred them money.
That scam where they try engage in cyber sex, so you send them these new pictures, but I hadn't even done that. All I did was just add them.
Our real concern is around these deep fakes and what we're starting to see as some emerging trends, which is that they are taking the face of an individual and
And by the way, there's a reason I showed you this one first. This is probably, out of all the different scams, this is probably the newest. The threatening of deep fakes. Like people used to do this back in the day, like Photoshop or say I have a nude and it's a blurred face. This is different because they can make it look exactly like you or your kid. And that is a spooky dookie. And like, how do you even handle that? That's how new it is, you know? There are deep fake lawsuits going through the court system right now. One involves a comic who's fucking awesome, who we've mentioned on here before, Theo Vaughn, and Hitchhiker Kai. Maybe we'll cover it. Maybe I'll try to reach out to him. We'll see.
Posing that on a nude body or a sexually explicit photograph.
So, if you saw something dodgy online, would you question if it was real? With the rise of AI, doctored images are going to look more and more realistic.
We need to understand that if someone sends us, here's a nude image of someone you know, we should just delete that.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt too bad, but did she have a chest tattoo? Yo, Aussies are sick as fuck, dude. You guys rule. Your news anchors have tit tattoos. That rules, dude. I guess collarbone. I saw one chick with a diamond right here once, and I was like, damn, the news is getting cool.
Realistic.
We need to understand that if someone sends
How cool would it be to see like a news anchor in fucking full sleeves, like tat sleeves? I would love that. A death metal news anchor? Fuck yes. Okay, sorry. Back to the point.
Images are going to look more and more realistic.
We need to understand that if someone sends us, here's a nude image of someone you know, we should just delete that. We shouldn't be opening it and looking at it because that empowers someone to sextort, as it were.
Do not pay the scammers. As hard as that is going to be, it's actually worse if you pay them.
We know that our young
Do you hear that? I want to repeat what she said. This is the number one advice I've given to anybody who has met, and I've had a few people who are actively attempting to be sextorted. Okay. I immediately contacted friends who work in LE to ensure that I was giving the right advice and to get contacts for them to go to, while simultaneously reiterating to them, do not cooperate, don't respond, do nothing. Contact the police. Here's a number. Seriously, don't respond to them. I don't care what they say. I don't care if they do what they say they're going to do. Don't. Immediately contact police, because if they do SWAT you and there is a record of you calling and telling them this shit, then they are less likely to SWAT you. As in, the police are less likely to react with a SWAT team. You feel me? Because they have it on record that someone is extorting you, threatening you, saying they're going to do that. You feel me? So again, like, do you remember the DUI, DWI, and the weed lawyers in Cali? When the cops talk to you, what do? You don't fucking talk. You shut the fuck up, right? If the cops pull you over and they say, "Can we search your car?" What do? You shut the fuck up. Imagine that for the scammers. You just nothing. Block them, walk away, call the police immediately.
The scammers, as hard as that is going to be, it's actually worse if you pay
Good
them.
morning,
we know
Valiant.
that
Good
our
morning.
young people, once
Welcome.
they can no longer pay, are sometimes being forced to commit offences as well, such as open up domestic bank accounts to help facilitate payments of sextortion through to, offshore syndicates.
Experts say victims should report extortion to social media platforms and authorities.
We'll buy you, babe. Just to be clear, go to the police first. But I'm always happy to listen.
They'll walk you through what the best thing to do is, who to contact, how to fingerprint that image and try and prevent it being shared.
It all happened so quickly and all suddenly.
yeah,
but I
dude.
guess we just live in a time where technology really is that advanced, and we can be left vulnerable. Never in a million years would have I thought this would ever happen.
Hey, kids, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Where did it cut off? I've fallen down the bidet. I don't know what happened. No, I don't think it was a copyright. I mean, maybe. Fuck. If Australia copyrights me, what are we even doing here? Yeah, I had one bar. I'm here. You can see me, but the screen is black. Your message? In chat only, date. Oh, no. Date's date. It's the dang nodes again. Valiant, you're already fucking killing it. It's the nodes. All cold grannies are welcome. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. It's the nodes, dude. It's the nodes. I don't make it feel weird, but I talk about this stuff all the time because of true crime. Oh, good. You should talk about it all the time because people need to know, you know? I'm back. Hi, Ginger Snaps. I like your picture. Yeah, so what were we talking about? Anyway. Oh yes. So yeah, the whole point of that video, the reason that I chose it is because it has to do with deepfakes, which is a whole other lane that I didn't hit on. and that it's important and is probably the newest on this frontier. But you should definitely always go to the police before you go to me. Just a heads up. I'm saying I'm your last resort. Go to the police, go to law enforcement, try to go above their heads if they're not listening to you. And then above all, especially if it involves a kid, contact NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. A lot of people forget NCMEC, NCMEC, .org, I believe. Let me make sure I got that right, because some of them have been a .com, and I'm like, what? Let me make sure. I believe it's NCMEC.org. Yes. Or missingkids.org. A lot of people think that NCMEC is all about just missing or murdered kids. No. It's exploited children too. So if you have a kid and you fear they're being exploited, NCMEC will get you in touch with people who will take you seriously. You feel me? So if you call local law enforcement, they're not fucking listening. They're not doing anything. You're very scared. Your kid's freaked out. Call NCMEC. They will have, at least you have like a record of people going through the layers that need to be gone through. But they can also register cases and relay cases directly to law enforcement. And if local law enforcement isn't listening, they can go above them, and so can you, i.e. FBI and other various resources that they might know better than you. They can put you in touch with private investigators who can get information for you that perhaps can be useful to getting a report filed. There's all sorts of shit that they can do. If that doesn't work, I highly, highly recommend, no matter what, do not contact these fucking people, and make sure that you're at least calling to put a record of the call, if anything, and at that point, if they're not helping you, I would just go to the fucking press, because what, they came up with a new term for deep fakes to confuse. I'm confused, so I don't remember the new term. Yeah. Whatever you call it, if it is not you and they put your face on it, or they've made it seem like it's you, it's not okay, and it's totally illegal, especially if it's a kid. But there are technicalities, because if they put a kid's face on someone who's of age, is that child porn? That has been a big question. They are doing shit like that. It's fucked up. I think it is. I think it's exploitative as fuck. It really depends on your state laws. Also, in some states, 17, 16, 18, these are a lot of the years where, it really depends on state laws what they can do. Is someone doing this internationally or domestically? Every little detail matters, but as long as you get it on record that you did everything legally that you could do, then they can't say you didn't fucking try, right? Hopefully, some system of checks and balances will get you where you need to be, but people forget that NCMEC is also not just missing, but exploited children. So I would highly recommend contacting them. In fact, in the case we were talking about in Florida with the Santa Claus, CSAM, the dad and his son, and one of them killed themselves because they got busted, in Florida doing that shit that pedos in Florida do, especially the Disney ones. Yeah. So in that case, that tip was through a cyber tip because of Bing that I believe was sent to NCMEC from Bing. It was like automatically. They're a great resource. Great resource. Okay. I'm going to show you the other videos, and they're not too long. Don't worry, but they are other circumstances where this is, because I want to show you all the different kinds. That way, if you see something with your kid that's weird, you can know kind of what to look for. You can also know perhaps how they are scamming your kid. Again, if your kid has crypto, they're automatically a little more vulnerable. If your kid has a heavy online presence, automatically more vulnerable. If your kid posts pictures of themselves publicly or even privately, but they have friends that you have not met in real life, keep that in mind. Every single person every time your kid goes on social media, right? Every single person that is on social media, you're exposing your kid to. But those people are also exposed to your kid. So it's a two-way street. It's like when my parents would say, like, be careful, the crazies are out. And then the joke is I'm the crazy, right? It's a two-way street. You can also find out that your kid's doing fucking hood rat shit and doing fucked up shit to other people. Then what? We had that one, remember the one call where she was concerned that her kid was talking to someone who wasn't who they said they were? And then she was like, oh, shit, my kid might be the one doing that. And we all had a laugh, but like, that's true. There's a lot of different ways that these people can come for you and come for your kids. And the number one way, I think, is by empty threats. A lot of them aren't going to do it. Some of them do. And even if they do, and it's something like spreading fake news, stuff like that, you still don't respond. Do not respond, ever. Don't give them what they want. Don't give them your bank account info. Don't do it. But let's watch other situations so you can know what to look for.
Blackmail, extortion, or revenge porn. Well, we're familiar with the terms blackmail, extortion, or revenge porn, but now there's something called sextortion, a very real and often deadly scam aimed at teenagers through social media. They're tricked into sharing compromising photos of themselves with someone they believe to be in an online relationship with, and once they do, the scammers say they're going to post those photos unless they get money. As MTN's Jill Valley explains, kids in Montana are falling victim.
Waylon was definitely a different breed. And I knew it from the time he was 3 months old, like, wow, look what I got.
16-year-old Waylon Schaefer, a popular high schooler in Houston, Montana, somebody who loved what all Montana kids do, hunting, his truck, his family.
That kid lived the best life a little Montana boy ever could have.
But on December 14th, 2022, this young life came to a tragic end.
It was a normal morning, and that's one thing I'm really happy about, that in this house, you did never go to bed or leave the house every day without saying, I love you, have a good day. I had 3 minutes to see what was going through his head. So that's his silver Ram Charger sitting out there, and I noticed it was gone. And that's when I knew immediately, like,
and see how he talks about, like, he had no idea what was going through his head. Like, that's another thing, is some of these kids, you know, that if you're not checking their social media, or if you are checking their social media, you're still not going to see what's going on in their head, you know? So how do you get through that when what's going on in their head is like total turmoil and there are no signs, and you've looked everywhere and you just don't see the things that we're talking about? You don't see it. A lot of the times when this happens, kids will hide it. And that's why I stressed to you in the last video, check under the calculator, look into the settings, the user data. It's not to invade your kid's privacy. It's for situations where there's something going on and you're not sure what. You know, if this could be a possibility, this is why.
something is not right.
Waylon drove up 9 Mile near his home and took his own life.
I knew something backed him into a corner, but it just took a month to find out what it really was. He didn't want to do what he did.
Waylon was being blackmailed in a scam called sextortion, and it's often aimed at teenagers, a crime explained to me by Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen.
What we see and what sextortion is someone online typically posing as a peer, posing as someone who is, romantically or sexually interested in another young person, will get explicit photos of that person, and then they will turn around and try to blackmail them.
I met with Brian Cassidy, a computer crimes agent with the Montana Department of Justice in Helena. He told me since September of last year, he's had some 49 emergency calls for Montana kids in crisis over this scam.
They tell them, like, we're going to post this to your school, to your community. We're going to send this to that college you told us that you applied for, and it's going to ruin your life going forward, or you have to send us some money.
Jason believes in the hours before his son died, Waylon's online relationship suddenly flipped, and he was immediately trapped by 4 blackmailers, and this 16-year-old started to panic.
But basically they threatened him to the point that they basically told him, like, hey, we're sending them out one by one right now. I firmly believe he thought that everything was out there. So before he drove up 9 Mile and sat down underneath the tree and did his business, he deleted his entire phone. There was no text messages. There was no apps. There was nothing.
Waylon isn't the only one caught in this deadly.
So see, here's one thing. Also, yes, Cat Randall, 16. Here's another thing. You're right, they should. And that's why I'm showing this to you, because a lot of kids don't know how to explain this to the parents, right? So if you tell your friends who are parents and they tell their friends who are parents, and you, if you're a parent, I know this is the part that it's kind of hard to hear. But I've had to tell this to a couple of people. Again, I'm not a parent, but if you want to know what I would do, I would sit your kids down and show them this. Not this video I'm making. I'm not like sitting here going, oh, you got to watch, show them OB. No. I'm saying show them videos like these. I'll put the links in the chat. Show them what these people do. You might go, oh, my kid's 13 or 14 and they're not ready for this. Well, if they're ready to be on the internet, then they need to be ready for this, is my opinion. And who can prepare themselves for this? That's easy to say, but let's be real. You can. You can. You absolutely can. I know it seems shocking right now, but believe it or not, you can prepare yourself for this by being honest with your kids and saying, look, there's this shit going on. I'm going to show it to you. If anything like this ever fucking happens to you, tell me so we can whoop those aces. You feel me? Even if you feel uncomfortable or they're too young or you just want them to be kids, you don't want them to know about things like this. Well, if it could happen to them and they're on the internet, I mean, they're already not being kids, right? Like by going on the internet and having the whole Wild West of that open to them, that's not really something you want to expose your kids to, but you are. So if you're going to, or if perhaps you just know your kid's a little shit and he's going to look anyway, then best to be prepared. You know what I mean? I'm not saying encourage them to have sex. I'm saying encourage them to wear condoms. Do you feel me? That is what I'm saying, metaphorically speaking. And I know that it's heavy, and I know that I'm not, again, I know I'm not a parent. But I kind of am. I'm your fucking dad. And I'm telling you, it's very important to teach them this shit. Even they may hate the news, they may not care, but if you notice them paying special attention to a certain part, maybe ask them why. It can lead into the conversation. Or when it's done, quiz them. Okay, what do you do? Someone's showing you deep fakes and saying it to you. What do you do? You could be that tiger mom. You could give them a test. I'm just saying, just show it to them and let them know if anything like this happens to you, I'm here. That's what I would do. I would definitely do that. All right, here, let's keep watching.
Web, I Googled sextortion and suicide, and a tragic story emerged. Dozens of teens have chosen to die, presumably because they were embarrassed or ashamed. And those on the other end of this scam simply don't care.
They don't care about anybody else's life. They don't, I wish they had a different heart, but they're at the point where there's been kids that say, hey, I'm just going to go kill myself if you keep bugging me. And they say, go ahead, your life's already over.
These people, it's their job. They go to work 10 hours a day. They sit in their space with their laptop and they build fake profiles and they aim them at specific ages.
All I had to do is get on his phone and send those guys a nice little selfie with a middle finger and say, leave them alone. And it would have been over with. It would have been over with.
I asked Jason why he was willing to share this painful story with me. He says it's because others need to know about this menacing crime against our children. And because he knows right now there's somebody else in trouble.
It's the only way I can really avenge it, honestly. It's the only way I can. It's good medicine.
Glitter, yes. I'm glad you brought this up. If you have kids that are using social media in any way where their voice is being heard, not even that, if you have a kid who's been on the news during a state fair or a parade and someone asked them, what do you think? And they did the whole I like turtles, but more, like they talked more. If your kid is recorded on your Facebook, listen, if you get a call of your kid freaking out, you're going to want to help them, right? Oh my God, it's little Timmy. What do you need? What's going on? Obviously, as a parent, your instinct's going to kick in. I want you to remember to go through everything online that your kid has with their voice and you have with their voice and ask yourself, can this be used against me? Because what Glitter is talking about here is very real. I'm going to leave it up for the duration of this video, because that is a real thing that is also happening, as well as for adults, people calling random family members and saying, your loved one was in a car accident. They're at this hospital. In order to get XYZ blood transported over to them so they won't die, we need you to give us your credit card information because their fucking insurance won't cover it. And you've got 10 minutes. And the amount of elderly people who will hand over all their information because they think their nephew or grandkid is in a car accident. And then it turns out their account gets drained and their grandkid is okay, is terrifying. Let's keep going.
I told you, it's the only way I can feel like I'm doing something for them. Like, people need to talk about it. You can't say enough about it. You cannot spread the word enough. Our kids are just so naive.
In Houston, Jill Valley, MTN News.
This is that video I was
If I'm
talking
honest,
about. I'm going to
I was
put
feeling
all these in
lonely.
the comments.
I really wanted to meet someone, but I was finding it hard. Where do people meet these days anyway? I mean, everyone meets online, right? So I went on some dating sites and apps, and I even joined some Facebook groups. And that's when I received a friend request from a woman called Lucy. I didn't know her, but she looked attractive, so I accepted. We messaged, and it wasn't long before she suggested to speak more on Skype. I couldn't believe she was interested in me, and I liked her. Made total sense at the time. Once we started chatting, I remember thinking, I've finally found someone that could understand me.
Sorry.
She was so nice. I couldn't believe she was interested in me. After a bit, the conversation moved on to a different level. You know, we both got quite sexual and did things which might have been better face to face. Anyway, I'm embarrassed to say this out loud, but one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was completely naked doing stuff on camera. I thought that was relatively normal with dating.
I don't know why the music is so loud.
It probably sounds a bit stupid. As soon as it was over, she turned cold. She began threatening me. Saying she'd recorded me, doing things. And that if I didn't give her £400, she'd post it on Facebook for all my friends and family to see. I couldn't believe it. She changed so quickly. I mean, it was like she was a different person. I felt so ashamed of myself.
This one, by the way, this can be kids or adults. Think about it. Like, someone invites you over to their house. They are real. They do things with you. They videotaped you, and now they're threatening you. This is very real, and it happens to teens and adults. So this is also a perfect example, real time, of how that shit happens, which is why I put that there. Hold on. We have a visit from the god. It's a palate cleanser. Bring him in. Look at him. Look at you. Say good night to everybody.
If you're a teen, be safe out there. I'm the Hugin.
If you're a teen, be safe, the Hugin says. Thank you. Thank you for the advice, Hugin. Thank you. What's Hugin's code word? Tiff has a good idea. Code word. What's Hugin's code word? Chicken. He can't have chicken anymore, though. Salmon skin. That's his code word. Let me pull this back up. I'm going to go back a bit because this is where it gets important. Like, whoa.
As soon as it was over, she turned cold. She began threatening me. Saying she'd recorded me, doing things. And that if I didn't give her £400, she'd post it on Facebook for all my friends and family to see. I couldn't believe it. She changed so quickly. I mean, it was like she was a different person. I felt so ashamed of myself. How could I have been so stupid? I tried to reason with her. Maybe she was in trouble and I could help her. But I soon realised it wasn't her threatening me. It was actually some guy who'd been messaging me. He was part of an organised crime gang. I'd been scammed. I was terrified they'd post the video online, so I paid up straight away. I had to transfer the money to the Philippines, and I assumed that would be the end of it. But then they tried to blackmail me for even more money. I deactivated my Facebook account in case they tried to share the video with all my contacts. I was really scared. In the end, I called the police. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to talk to anyone about it, but I'm glad I did. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. They were really sympathetic and told me organised crime gangs scam thousands of people like this every year. I still felt depressed about the whole thing, but it helped to know that I wasn't alone anymore. The police started investigating straight away, and it made me feel better knowing I was doing my bit to stop it happening to someone else.
I'm going to interrupt to say this. Bayou Babe is a great point. At least bring the conversation up to your kids so they can know they can come to you. If you're not going to show them all this, at least bring it up and give them an idea of how it goes down, is what I would say, so that if it happens to them, they can know the warning signs. I.e., if you want to talk to a girl online, like, look, you're 16, you've got a Snapchat, you want to talk to this girl, just show me who she is and let's make sure she's not scamming you. I personally, why I brought up catfish earlier, I think about this a lot, but if I had kids who are that age, I'd show them catfish. You know what I mean? They've probably seen it anyway. It's on MTV. But I would let them know that it happens in other ways. And if they want to talk about that, right? I think that's a great point by you, babe. Just bring it up casually in conversation so they're not weird about it. Perfect. Yes, great comment.
It was such an awful experience, but I'm so glad I told someone. I'm no longer being threatened, and I feel safe enough to go back online. I'm finally able to move on with my life.
Hey, Sectagoers. Today's topic is an extremely sensitive one. We will be talking about sexual abuse, exploitation, and suicide. These
Oh,
topics-
wait. No, this is the video. Never mind. This one I was going to do this one, protect yourself against sextortion, in place of this one, because this one gets a little too heavy. And it's also, I'm going to put a link to it though, because this is a really good video, like on what to do, but it's basically repeating a lot of the same stuff with different art. But this is more of like a medical psychiatry point of view and mental health advocacy type of point of view. And I really want to focus on, like, we've already gone through this part, you know, how it can happen, but I want to focus on keeping it with different ones related specifically to kids so that you can know what to look for. But namely, I want to show you real life examples so that you can see how common it is. And this one is about the law. This one's important. If you're like, oh, how can I do something as far as like from where I am, my community, or why isn't it showing up?
Hey, Sectagoers.
Nope.
Today's topic.
Here we go. Like, what can I do on my level to change things where I am, right? This is an example. Let me see if I can get it to fucking work first. Jesus. Hold on. What's going on here? Let me stop that screen real quick. I have a feeling Gay Jeff is tinkering with the Wi-Fi again. What's going on here? Oh, I understand and wish to proceed. Had to do that real quick. Sorry, guys. So this one's more about the law. So if you've gone through this, Melissa, for example, went through this, obviously, like her kid did. This is what was done to the law in one state. And I'm curious because obviously I can't go through every single state and look at it right now, but I wish I would have. Go check your state and see what the laws are and if there's anything that needs to be tweaked or changed, and if there's anybody supporting that change that you can get behind, or if you can and there's nothing, write to your representatives about drafting a bill to protect kids from stuff like this, because it is important that it is addressed. And the more serious they take this crime, kind of regards on how against the law it is. So if we change the laws, we can change how seriously the crime is taken, right? So let's watch this. Share.
New measure in South Carolina will now make sexual extortion or sextortion of minors illegal. The state's Republican governor signing the bill into law yesterday.
By the way, you would think it was already illegal. What the fuck?
This was after it was filed by a Republican state lawmaker, Brandon Guffey, whose 17-year-old son, Gavin, died by suicide after becoming a victim of sextortion.
Oh,
ABC
yeah.
News senior reporter
This one's so
Emmanuel
sad. I'm
Saliba
sorry.
joining us now. So, Emmanuel, let's just back up a little bit and talk about what exactly happened to Guffey's son.
So he was a victim of sextortion. It's a common online scheme that's happening now to both adults and young kids on the internet. In this particular case, he was targeted by online scammers pretending to be a teenage girl. And they reached out to him on Instagram. They had a fake name. They had a fake profile. They had images stolen from another woman. And they engaged in a conversation online. And soon they lured him into sending intimate photos of himself. And then he felt like he was cornered and he had no other option.
So his father, clearly using his platform for change, put together this measure. Let's talk about it and how he hopes it will protect other young kids from this.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Brandon Guffey, and he used this opportunity to pass this legislation in South Carolina that would criminalize sextortion. And the most important part of it, he says, is that it also makes schools talk about it. It's going to be mandatory for schools to talk about sextortion to children and to teachers to raise awareness, because there's so much shame behind this. And also, I think what people don't realize is how quickly this can escalate. And we'll show a little bit of our conversation with Brandon.
12 o'clock at first contact. By 1:40, he had taken his life. And it went to, and I don't know the exact times, but I was just laying in my bed. Whenever I heard him leave the room, I got up because something just didn't feel right. I even passed him in the hall and just told him, "Good night, buddy. I love you." In my mind, I want to say he said, "Love you too, Dad," but I think he said, "I'll see you in the morning," before everything happened.
So Guffey there explaining the last moments that he saw his son alive and really describing how quickly this scam evolved. Just an hour and a half from the first point of contact that the scammer contacted his son to the time he decided to take his own life.
Yeah, at that age, you're so vulnerable and you're
You know how
concerned
quickly
about
it
what
can
other
happen
people
too?
think, and something like that is so personal and it's devastating. And so, as a parent, look, I'm a parent. I want to know what I can do, what I can look out for, other friends, and parents to protect our kids against this.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to a lot of experts and to a lot of parents whose sons and teenage girls have gone through this, and there are two big tips that they give. One is to create a safe space for your child to come forward.
I don't mean to interrupt her, but I have to say, I mean, your kids are kind of right. Like, it is dangerous. Like, already in this chat, a bunch of you have told me how old your grandkids are and your kids and where you live. You got to be careful, guys. I might delete this chat just to keep. Sometimes y'all wonder why the chat's deleted. It's like to protect you. Do you understand? But you do have to be careful, man. Also, if you piss the wrong person off in chat, they could fucking go off. People are nuts, dude. All of a sudden, they're on a hunt to find you and they're creating videos about you. That shit happens all the time. Shit fucking happened to The Rock or Rock Chalk. Melanie pissed some people off on Twitter. They fucking doxed her. I really truly think that I mean, yeah, it's not in my best interest to tell you that. Obviously, I'd like it if people watch the channel. And obviously I love talking to you guys, but let's be real. It is not safe to just have an opinion on the internet, really. Any opinion, good or bad. There's always going to be someone who disagrees. Simultaneously, it's as much as like we don't want to admit it. I mean, just me showing my face is fucking not a good idea. Like, it's really nothing's a good idea anymore. Being on the internet is a horrible idea. But it's also not an idea. For some of us, it is how we make our living. We might work online. You might need it for work from home shit. You might be a creator. You might be a musician. Your entire job might be to promote you yourself, which is what comedy technically is. It's very hard to walk that balance and know how to handle it without putting yourself at risk. You commenting in this chat, I mean, automatically by being on the internet and being involved in peer-to-peer communication, generally not the safest idea, but like, would I say dangerous? I would say, depending on what you say, about yourself. So, to be fair, I mean, your kids aren't wrong.
Don't attach shame or blame or
I'm just trying to be
punishment.
honest. Again, not in my best interest, but yeah, trying to be honest with you guys. For real, like, it's probably not a good idea to talk about, like, and I'm not trying to, like, say shame, but, like, I wouldn't tell people how old my kids or grandkids are. I wouldn't tell people, like, my hometown or something, like, if I had kids. You just want to be really careful because there could be anybody in here that's fucking, this bitch said some shit I don't like, and now I know where her kids go to school or what state she's in. You know what I mean? You got to be careful. You really do.
Know what I can do, what I can look out for, other friends, and parents to protect our kids against this.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to a lot of experts and to a lot of parents whose sons and teenage girls have gone through this, and there are two big tips that they give. One is to create a safe space for your child to come forward. Don't attach shame or blame or punishment.
Good point, lady. Listen, Glitter, better point. I get my son's headset and randomly say hi to who he's playing Fortnite with and ask random casual questions. He doesn't mind, just says, say hi to my mom. This is the best fucking thing you can do. Imagine you do that and it's like, hi, what's up? Excuse me. Who are you talking to, my kid? Number one way to figure it out. Number one way. Genius.
Just create a safe space so they can come forward, because so many of the time they're scared to come forward and tell you about it because it's so intimate and personal. And then the
Good
other
morning,
is there
Adrian.
are a variety of tools that we can use to take these images down. And the CEO of Thorn, they focus on protecting children from online harm. She gave a really great tip, the single most important one, and we'll let her give it to us.
You stop paying. If you talk to any investigator, don't pay it.
Hi,
If you're an adult, if you're a child, don't pay it. Shut the account down. Ask for help immediately. And because we need to take the money out of this as well.
So the most important part is, if you get caught in a scheme like this, do not pay. I mean, the best would be to not send those intimate photos. But if you are lured and you developed a relationship, do not pay. Reach out to a family member, reach out to law enforcement, shut your account down, And then, there are steps that can be taken from there.
Manuel, really appreciate your reporting. Such an important story to tell. A hard one, clearly, for Guffey, and his family, but one we all need to
Which
hear.
case? Wait, which case? No, you could say it. Is it Sebastian? I'm not one of those don't say it. You could say it. I don't care. You could say the word of like whatever people. If it's suicide, if it's rape, you can say that because we're adults and we're not gonna cutesy that shit up. And if it's a person's name, like I don't care. You could say it. I don't care. Like but we've already had multiple live sabotage discussing politics, religion, and guns. I don't think we could get much more. And abortion. Like I don't think we could get much more in the shit. You know what I mean? I don't understand actual first contact an hour and a half because they're like, it's a scammer who's like, guess what? I have this, this, and this on you, and this is what will happen if you don't give me this. And they believe them. And then boom, done. It can happen super fast. Super fast. And keep in mind, his dad's a politician. Imagine what that shit was. Fuck.
Thanks, Emmanuel.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Tiff, I'm glad you asked. Life is dangerous, but what are the options? Wrestling, baby. Fucking kayfabe, dude. Live it.
And my mom was on top of that all the time and stranger danger and whatnot. And you just don't talk to strangers. And you don't.
Miss Shorty has my address. I mean, obviously, you guys can see me and see Miss Shorty, and you can confirm who we are and shit like that. But we don't got. I mean, at least as far as I know, we're about the safest we can be as far as not being as vulnerable because we don't have little bitty kids in our house right now. I think, but at the same time, like, I'm just saying, like, if anything is a bad idea, sharing on the internet, just being online, but. So is like eating and not eating. Like everything's a bad idea, really. I don't think there's anything that is a good idea to do other than watch wrestling, poop, and eat shrimp. That is honestly my 100%. Put that on my grave.
No, and then so there's always that fear in my
Oh God, and pet the Hugin, of course.
head, but nothing too. This could never happen to me. I'm Ashley. This can't happen to me. I'm normal, but little did I know that I ended up getting. Terrorized is the only way I can think of it by this guy. I just remember getting this message that the subject line said something about naked pictures and that he has of me. I ignored it. I didn't know who he was. I didn't want to answer it or even open it up. It was never me believing that he was some charming 16-year-old older boy or something that I could be talking to make a relationship out of. It was never like that. It was pure business, it felt like. Like it was an exchange. I gave him the pictures and I got to keep my reputation. He was not going to stop and he was set on sharing my picture with whoever he could to ruin my reputation. Felt like a slave. I had to make sure I replied to every message. I had to give him like an explanation. I feel
Agreed by you, babe. I'll probably.
why was I replying and then
I'm definitely gonna do that. That's what I do usually. If anybody shares too much. Sometimes you guys just say terrible shit that I know is going to get you in trouble, and I delete it for your own sake because I'm like, the kids know not what they say.
lies of everything and what I was doing and whatnot, and then having him know, I'm sorry, I have school in the morning, I have to do this, I'm at school till this time, and then I'd have my nights where I just felt, I felt depressed. I remember just laying in bed with silence and just thinking, and I felt like God was so disappointed in me, and I didn't know like what to do. But I wouldn't get home till late at night, and then I'd have to send him all these pictures. And as I'm doing this, he would be like, "No, this isn't right. This one's blurry, or you didn't do this right. You weren't doing it right. You got to do it again." So, and that's where being a slave to him comes in because I had to make sure I complied, and I sent him all this.
Hi, Garden.
Maybe tomorrow I'll get a break. I'll get a day off tomorrow if I just do all these right, which I never wanted to send them or like give him what he wanted, but I wanted my freedom, I guess. So I figured the only way to do that is if I do it right, but nothing was ever right. I didn't even want to believe what I was doing.
Remember when we used to drink out of the water hose, Glitter? Those were the days. You could take a shit in your own yard and drink out of the water hose, and no one said anything. I think about that a lot. Yep, it's all you can do. You're right. You just do the best. Adam says, for the love of the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. You got to live, you got to love, you got to laugh, you got to watch wrestling, you got to sniff Hogan's fights. All right? Wrestling and Tramp, they're so good. You are absolutely all feral and you're all fucking grounded. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're grounded. You are a Fraggle. You're a fucking Fraggle Rock. Oh, you kids.
I would just, it would be so awkward. Like, I don't even like telling my parents. I'm 20. I don't like telling my parents if I have a boyfriend. Or
By the way, I put her in here because she is a victim who survived it, you know, and became an advocate talking about it. And we've seen victims who haven't survived it so far. We've seen a short about an adult who went through it. We've seen, you know, a couple of different angles. Hers is an interesting one.
or not. So it's like, man, I'm a quiet person. I keep my business to myself.
You know,
But I just didn't want my parents to be disappointed in me. I can't.
of course you are, Glitter. You like to spray them in the fucking face when they go in for the drink. I am that person too. We are devious and we can't be stopped.
It's just embarrassing to talk about.
Dude, me
I still
too.
remember
Current
going
hair.
into the bedroom where the computer was when my parents sat me down, and I was like, it was like instant like panic attack. Like my heart and stomach was just. I was like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, how am I gonna explain this? And then I got brought into the room and had to come clean. Once my mom showed me the messages that she saw, I was relieved. It took me a while to
No
realize
problem.
it was a relief. At first, it was embarrassment and like.
This is firsthand information, by the way, from a victim saying, even though it took her a while, she was relieved that her parents caught her, right? Not really caught her, she's a victim, but caught her trying to hide her victimization, right? She was scared she was going to get in trouble. But then she was relieved when she realized she wasn't, right? So that's kind of why it's important to let them know you're not going to be in trouble. Not even if you keep it to yourself, you're not going to, nothing you do can make you be in trouble. I just need you to tell me type of shit, or however you want to word it. Just know that there's a victim right here of that shit who is relieved that her parents found out because it ended up possibly saving her life.
Awkward and crying, and I was afraid because I didn't want to go to jail for sexting, and then at least someone knew, and there's no way to describe like just having someone know, and like I'm free. I guess I don't even have to go into detail to say like what I went through. Just knowing that someone else knows, that someone else is aware that I'm not the only one who
Fight garden hose nonetheless. You kids are feral.
knows what I've been doing. It's bricks.
We just talked about the Studebaker Valley and VC. I'm so glad you brought that up, the no seatbelts thing.
Oh, as awkward as it could be for depending on how close you are with your parents, you're gonna feel that awkward. That's heaven compared to feeling alone and closed.
I know, we're finishing the kids' video. I said we have to do it.
I just wish there were like available outlets for a 14-year-old's brain.
I know.
If they're too afraid to go to their parents because they don't want to go to their parents and tell them what's happening to them. So if they had a different way to go about it, then I think that would make it a lot
Boom.
more comfortable. And
I'm going to pause this and leave it here. If any of you needs to take a screenshot, you're going to have to take it with what Tiff Knox says, because I agree. This is absolutely true. Because this is one of the ways that they sextort or embarrass. Isn't necessarily with pictures or video. It can be with quote unquote knowledge or supposed knowledge of a kid's, sexuality or gender. And this can be used against them. It's really fucked up to out someone, right? So like, this is one of the reasons it's fucked up, because it isn't a choice to them. It's something that they have to come to terms with and figure out how to navigate on their own. For you to halt that and not give them the option to make that decision for themselves and how they go about it is really fucked up. So I don't think that a lot of people can necessarily understand that fully unless you've been through it. And even I can't, but I do have gay friends that have told me this repeatedly, that like it is sacred. You know what I mean? It's a very sacred thing. Like, and how it happens and when you do it can be the difference between having your family stick by you or having a place to live or, everything. It can really, it's a traumatic experience for some people. So like, imagine a stranger on the internet dangling that above you. It's not necessarily something that's like, it's not just a lifestyle. It's like who they are at their core, and it's up to them how they share it. That is a huge, huge thing. because we've made it a huge thing because they're scared. If we get rid of the fear by not making sexuality a big deal, by really going full-blown Europe with it, just it's no fucking big deal, guys. Everybody chill. If we stop fucking scolding people for that shit and making them afraid to talk about it, using it against them, then other people can't, right? It's kind of like how Eminem took away the power by putting it all out there, right? I'm poor, I'm from a trailer, this is what happened to me, good luck, now it's all out there. There wouldn't be anything to be out there if it wasn't a big fucking deal. It would be like saying, I'm going to tell everyone you wore purple socks yesterday. Who gives a fuck? Like, that's how normalized just being you or talking about things like your sexuality, your gender, or what you like. And I know that is hard to conceive, but like, once we kind of, as a society, decide, like, who gives a fuck? Like, stop making fun of them for that, of all things, you know? Then there really is no power behind these threats. They'll get rid of a nice chunk of them, I think. It would be better all around. I agree. Anyway, that's the information on who you call. Let's keep going, because I think there's one more video.
It would kind of get the ball rolling for them and to put an end to what they're going through. This is something that came into my life, and as horrible and bad as it is, I know that I can help. Like, I can, how people want to be like a doctor and save someone. Like, I want to help someone who is in this situation that gets overlooked all the time. It's just, we weren't raped. We're overlooked because nobody actually touched us. I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. Like, I don't need anyone to feel bad for me. I feel like, use that energy and just get the word out.
You're badass, Melissa. Badass.
The FBI is warning of an increasing crime that targets teens online. It's called sextortion. One San Jose mother shares her story of loss with ABC 7's Karina Nova as a warning to other parents and teens.
At 17 years old, Ryan Last had many interests: a straight-A student preparing for college, a Boy Scout, a second-degree black belt, and an animal lover.
He truly fell in love with the raising of the animals. And even my younger son has now taken on to that. And so he's raising a lamb also.
As his mom, Pauline, shares, because of the pandemic, like most kids, Ryan also spent a lot of time online.
He couldn't download any apps without it requesting our approval. But the problem is we give a little bit more freedom with some of the apps because they were used for schoolwork also.
That extra phone time is when Ryan turned into a victim of an increasing crime called sextortion.
They built his trust. They sent him a picture and asked for one in return. And as soon as he did, they demanded $5,000 from him. He was able to pay $150 from his account. But that was the issue, because as soon as he paid, they realized there was money there. He was told they were going to post it. And just the fear of someone posting those pictures was enough to scare him. And he was really scared.
That same night, while his parents were home, Ryan wrote a note and took his own life.
His note apologized for not being smarter. He believed in somebody, and that devastates me that he felt that he wasn't smart because somebody took advantage of him. My younger son lost his best friend and his brother, and it's going to be hard for us to recover from it, but I need to do as much as I can to stop it.
Doing something to stop it is warning other kids and parents. FBI Supervisory Special Agent Dan Costin says everyone needs to be cautious who you trust online. And if you become a victim, here's what to do.
Report it immediately. The recommendation is don't send money. Sometimes these images do get shared if you ignore the call for funds from the extorters on the other end. But we find that if you ignore them, they typically go away.
Pauline tells me had they known about this crime and talked about it, they'd be celebrating Ryan's 18th birthday in April.
Just let them know that even any mistake, you'll be there for them. And just build that conversation now. And hopefully nothing will ever happen and it won't be a problem. But they need to know they can come to you for anything.
Karina Nova, ABC 7 News.
It's been called a new form of sexual assault.
All right, we got one
online
more.
Sextortion. What's driving this insidious and growing threat? Tonight we hear from the victims, young, vulnerable, and exposed. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
And this one, we're not going to watch the whole one.
With the click of a mouse, the beauty queen's moment to shine
turned into her darkest days.
I was halfway through my reign as Miss California when I found out that I had a stalker.
But this wasn't just any stalker. Cassidy
No,
Wolf in
wait.
2000.
No, we're not going to do this one. Sorry. I just looked at my list and realized, and no, I think this one can actually get us copyright struck. But also, it's not even that I don't care about the copyright strike. I'm really concerned with it cutting off right about here, like the wrestling one did. But I'm going to put a link to it. And it also has more to do with what we talked about in another video. And that football kid, I think we already... Yeah, that's the Michigan case. We already talked about that one. Okay. I think you guys are all making good points. Bayou Babe is crying. So what do you think? After seeing all the stuff that's going on in the world, after seeing all of your stories in the chat, which goddamn, seeing all your fears and your frustrations, your situations, do you feel like you have learned a little some? Do you feel like you know more than you did before? Are you slightly more enlightened? I know that you're sad. I mean, I'm sad too, you know? I'm sad too. But are you enlightened and sad? Are you informed and sad? As long as you're informed and sad. Listen, I'm a comedian. My job is to make sure you leave this shit informed and sad. You understand? I just want to make sure that, we covered a lot of these territories. I wanted a nice vast array. And I know that it was hard to hear. And I know that it was weird at times. Like, ugh, why would people do this shit? Learning about swatting is especially traumatic for some of y'all. But gamers be crazy. You're empowered with information. The demons are real. Excellent. Love to hear it. Learned a lot. Excellent. Hey, you helped yourself by staying up this late. You did it, kids. You did it. Night, Valiant. Hey, thank you for coming out from lurking and saying hello. Good night, Valiant from Bayou Babe. Tracy Pope says, Mom, you want me to go get Dad's boyfriend? Is that who you call Mom now? He's under the desk. He's playing Hide the Pen. Just kidding. Hi, Amy Thorpe. Hello. Thank you so much for listening. I realize it's very late. I realize that Dad probably could have planned better, right? If I would have planned better, then I would have had this all squeezed into one video. Also, if I could control the distraction. Now, we talked about a lot of crazy shit in the last video. It went off the rails, but we also learned. We learned about that weird Virginia shit where houses are blowing up, and hopefully none of us will get one of those smart meters till we figure out what that's about. We learned about a case from Cad who called in. We literally discussed every controversial topic you possibly could. And somehow we didn't all beat each other's aces. So that's good. And we saw the Hugin multiple times. Need I remind you? Yes, Hide the Pen. Thank you, Darlene. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. Dead planning? That would be fucking crazy. Hello, Web Toy. I'm glad to have the nights on lock. I enjoy working nights in general. This is more technically my afternoon. I think some people are finally figuring out what a graveyard shift is. It means overnight. And when you live this way for over 2 decades, it's just normal shit. Some of you think I don't sleep. That's funny. I would die. I'm very plump and healthy. Don't worry about it. My cheeks are rosy because I don't know how to do my blush. I never have. Blush portion control has always been a problem for your dad. Also, knowing when to stop with the eye things. I'll go up all the fucking way. Sometimes I'll connect them to my eyebrows, come around, do a little swirly, and then go back. I can fucking do some fucking hell with my eyebrows, okay? That's what that's about. Sometimes I get in a mood and we have to leave people at the Grand Canyon. And that mood is just your dad's old gut feeling. And, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, especially when Dad notices patterns. Now, I appreciate you, Adam. I appreciate you. But you know who was the most impressive tonight? You guys for sticking through it. Build your kids' self-esteem and resiliency and keep lines of communication open and not judgmental. This is amazing. And see, you guys are doing all the work. You're giving great advice to each other. You're questioning each other and answering to each other. We're building human dialogue that's non-threatening. And I enjoy that. Some of it is downright fucking funny. Other is absurd. And most is quite feral. You're all grounded. You're really out of fucking control. You've basically destroyed the vacation home. It's no longer a timeshare. We have to buy it because you kids have kicked in every fucking door. You got applesauce on the bed. I don't know if that's blood or ketchup, but whatever you've done in the bathroom, I'm upset. You kids have screamed. The cops have been called every night. It's disturbing. It's frankly disturbing. I know that you're ordering those bad channels because you don't like looking through the fuzz on the TV, but this timeshare charges extra for that, and I wish you wouldn't, you know? I also know that you've been dabbling in forensic files. You really have. And I don't appreciate you ordering wrestling pay-per-views on my dime, okay? Without inviting your dad, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. I saw you looking at pictures of Dad's boyfriend wiggling his butt, movie pictures, and thirst trapping over your future stepmom. How dare you? How dare you? Technically, your current common law stepmom, aka Dad's boyfriend, whose gender knows no bounds in this metaphor. Real mom doesn't know shit. That bitch was left at the Grand Canyon months ago. Must be blood. Years even. We've been through family court. What am I saying? Years. It's canon. Glad you learned a lot. This shit's pretty fucking hard to talk about. Kids are wild, dude. I think about when I was a teen and how, like, I think the worst thing I did was literally catfish an older man to go to the mall because I had a feeling he was older. And then I waited at a Hot Topic and watched him, and he was older and he was gross. He was an old goth guy, and I went, ugh. And then I went home. Yeah. It was the worst. That was it. And now, kids are stealing each other's crypto and convincing each other to kill each other and calling cops on each other and fucking sextorting. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's too much. The kids are doing too much. And I would say just take away their iPads, but they're just going to do it anyway. They'll find a way. They're kids. And you're kids. And sometimes you wreck the hotel. You wreck the fucking hotel. Common law stepmom. Don't listen. I'm from Texas. What are you doing? You know what this is. You knew what this was. But also, you guys have, like, seriously, kind of like, I don't want to out anyone. I'm not going to do that. But so many of y'all have sent me situations that revolve around this kind of subject matter. And I'm like, what's the pattern? The pattern is it's teens, internet, parents scared to Google words. Okay, got it. That's it. And it's like, oh, I now see. I'm like, fucking, what's his name? What is it? Charlie with the Pepe Silvio. Fucking, oh, fuck. You know, like, it makes sense now. It's just, I know that you think, look, go incognito, get your fucking, do what you need to do. Okay. Go incognito, do your search with your VPN, whatever. But just Google, like, why is my kid a little fucking asshole looking at this fucking dirty gabagool? Is my kid fucking doing cyber crimes? Does my kid have fucking crypto? What does hodl mean? Why is he fucking hodling with his friends? What is a Doge? Why does he have 800,000 Doge? Why is my kid over here buying a PS10? It ain't even come out yet. Why does that motherfucker not want to go to his grandma's? It's Christmas. He loves grandma's. He don't want to go to grandma's. What's he doing at the mall? What's he doing at the mall looking around weird with a big package? What's in that box? What he got in that box? And then you just start fucking rapping Luda in the parking lot with binoculars. The point is, fucking Mrs. Helen? Oh, shit, dude. Miss Shorty. Boy, yoing, swing. What's going on? What's going on, you guys? Baby goat wedding? Baby goat wedding. I want to see a baby goat wedding. Revisit your son's case. He hates to talk about it. He won't talk about it, but I have the OSINT spreadsheet now. Dude, I'll send you more for your, if you for real, fuck yeah, I'll send you some more shit that'll help with that specifically. Because it's a whole new level. Maybe, you know what? I should just I'll add a tab with some extra ones along with the new stuff. So you maybe just gave me an idea. What if the data in the OSINT spreadsheet coincides with what we talk about on the channel? Like the timing of it, right? Melissa, you goddamn genius. Fuck. You're a fucking mensch. Thank you. Great idea. Great idea. What's in the bag? What you got in that bag? Do you got diamonds and gold? Is that what you keep in your mouth? Get about my business, my business. I'm gonna get you in the Georgia Dome on the 50-yard line while 30 birds get the trees. If you like it in the club, it in the back of the VIP whipped cream with cherry strawberries on top. No line, no line. I'm sorry. Got my thighs, they call me the Pac-Man. Oh my God, it's ludicrous. Whoop, in the public bathroom or in the back of the classroom, however you want it. Bitch, no one that ass. Black ass stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I blacked out. Luda is so good. Oh yeah. Let's look up Kyle Spitz. Let's look up this little shit. Do you mind if we talk about it on here? Are you sure? Are you sure? Hold on, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. If you don't mind. If you don't, yeah, I know this. I know this name somehow. X.com. Which frankly seems like a porno URL. If your finger slips and there's another X, you're in a whole new place. What a bad idea, Elon. Here we go. Oh, the Satanist, dude. Yo. Hold up. Hey. I'm going to pull up a YouTube on this because I have seen this motherfucker before because they say he looked like a young Carrot Top to my homies. And he kind of looks like Kai the Hitchhiker. Oh, this little shit. I knew this fucking dude. This motherfucker. Hold on one second. Where is it? There he is. Oh, it's on this channel called Gamma. But I don't know if it'll let me play it. Fuck. Let me see if I can get. See, I don't want that to get taken down. Hold on, kids. Hold on. One more second. Because he thought he was like a cult leader or some shit. Oh, this little shit. Damn it. This pisses me off. Okay, we'll just look at the newspaper. Because that one's gonna fucking. I hate it. I hate that it won't let me play certain things or it'll take the channel down. I'm becoming more aware. And until I know exactly what will or what won't, I have to be cognizant. Okay, here we go. I don't care about monetization. I'm already fucked. I say fuck constantly, but I just don't want shit to get taken down. Here he is. This is that Satanist kid. He also looks kind of like my buddy Sawyer. This Kyle fellow, well, I don't know. We already know he's evil. We pretty much know everything about him, right? He's a piece of shit. And he fucked over Miss Shorty's friend. Okay. Ken Silva, Knoxville man Kyle Spitze, a member of the satanic pedophile cult 764, what a stupid fucking cult name. Ours is way better. Pled not guilty to a slew of child pornography charges Thursday in his initial appearance in federal court. And wasn't one of the guys in that thing fighting with his grandpa and then got shot on like a Facebook live? I'm pretty sure it was another guy that's in it. Yeah, he does look like Kai. So this guy's name is Kyle Spitze. I'm going to put a link to this right now. But I'll also put it in the bottom. Yeah, Hugentud Guerrero, Adam. I'm glad you caught it. I knew you would catch it. I thought Uncle Frank would catch it, but he's not here. He's asleep. It's spooky dooky, right? This one Miss Shorty's been through. Yeah, our cult is so much better than his. His does spooky dooky stuff. I don't like it. According to a grand jury indictment docketed on Wednesday, Spitze faces 3 charges of production of child pornography, 1 count of enticement, 3 counts of distribution of animal crushing video. Oh my God. This is awful. I don't think I can read all this right now. This is fucking. I'm fucking mad. Okay, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get the Shorty. This piece of shit. Albums. Look, I'm not gonna read it, but you can. There's a link. Look at that. Telegram. The victim told the FBI that Spitze operated under the name Criminal on Discord and Telegram. This motherfucker. The FBI also located Spitz's Telegram account, which he used under the name Criminal. This motherfucker. Someone screenshot this page right here. This screen. In the Telegram application were messages between Criminal and MV1, between January and February. MV1 sent a message saying, Kyle, 7 days later, criminal replied, leave me alone, MV1's name. The remainder of the affidavit is sealed, as is the FBI's affidavit for a search warrant. Spitz's not guilty plea comes a day after one of his, is that the guy? Kiera Cutler? For distribute, that might be the guy. I wonder if that's the guy whose grandpa shot him or he shot his grandpa. The judge who handed down the sentence said this is one of the most disturbing cases I've seen. Yeah, I bet. He clearly needs a lot of help, but I don't know what to do with someone like this. This feels like he can become utterly dangerous, the judge said. Yeah, no shit. Lock him up. Referencing Cutler's sealed presentence report. Oh, shit. When they seal a presentence report, that means like there's some fucked up shit in there. Like this is basically like, here's what we've deemed as fucked up with him from people handling the case. Which apparently says that he threatened to kill his mother. Of course he did. This guy fucking sucks, dude. Well, I mean, he already got. You know what I mean? He already got. There ain't nothing more we could do. He got. He pled not guilty, but we'll see what happens. Has yet to offer. So they haven't even offered him a plea deal, dude. Yet. I don't know. We'll have to check up on this. He is pure evil, Miss Shorty. He is. Tell your friend that Hugin is blessing her friend. And we are so sorry this happened. This guy fucking sucks. He fucking sucks. God, I hate him. Wait, what? He got what? He got 87 months? Wait, what, dude? Where? I was black with rage. Just blackout, dude. I was just like, what the fuck? Wait. No, that was Kiera. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Pled guilty in October, too. Yeah, no. I'm gonna... We're gonna talk about this on Discord, you guys. Let's not do that here. Let's talk about this on Discord, I think. Not like the whole story, but like the others in the cult. We'll talk about that somewhere else. You feel me? Read between the lines. We'll talk about that somewhere else, you guys. Okay? Okay. We'll do that later. We'll talk about it later. I think I'm going to have her on my channel soon if she's feeling okay enough. She's struggling too, the mom. Yeah, she does not need any more exposure right now. I definitely don't think she needs more exposure right now. Give her a lot of time. I'm sure you're not pressuring her. I'm sure you're looking out for her, you know, but like give her a lot of time, especially like I'm interested to see how many of those supposed fake ass cult members there are and what's going on with them and where they are. And I would wait and find that out before you do that. You know what I mean? Expose her to more publicity or at all. Cause fuck, dude. Jesus Christ, dude. Miss Shorty. Yeah, make a channel on Discord. Miss Shorty, get in there. We're going to talk about this. Yeah. M. LaFay read between the lines and is announcing between the lines for you guys who don't get it. This is, yeah, good. I knew you wouldn't. Like, yeah, she's going to need a moment. Let Dad look into these people for a bit. Let me send him some muffins from the Muffin Man, and then when everything's cool, bring her on. You bring her on your channel and talk to her if she wants. Regulators mount up. I have to figure out Discord now. Yep, you got to get on the Discord. Adam, can you drop the link for everybody? If you don't mind. Yeah. Oh, yes, Miss Shorty, we talked about this. Yes. Yes. Dude. Between this and the fucking, what do you call it? The house is blowing up in Virginia. God damn. If you get on the Discord, he will Sherpa you. I guess this Adam Sherpa's Helen. I guess this Arnold that I'm reading says because he recorded it and it shows that the other guy died of suicide and he was in the one shot that there were no charges filed in his case. Ah, fuck. Fucking shit. Not Arnold. Okay. Come to the Discord. Send me yours. Everyone drop Discord links. How do we do this? The Discord. How do we Discord? Don't worry. It's just like Reddit. It's like YouTube. You sign up for it. You have an account. You log in. You talk to people. Adam will Sherpa you through if you click the link he sends you. See Adam? He says he will Sherpa. A Sherpa is a righteous hippie that gets you to the top of the mountain. You feel me? He'll show you. He'll show you how to mounty up. Fucking Kyle. It's always a fucking Kyle. Goddamn Kyles. Okay, palate cleanser. And then off to bed. And then off to bed for all of you. You've stayed up past your bedtime. No, that is him. That is him. It was Kyle. It was Kyle Spitze who was shot. I was right. He's the one who got shot, right? Hold up. This is it. I've seen this. Oh, they're gonna fucking copyright strike me. He got shot, dude, and he survived. Look. In the arrest. Look at this shit. Is that the same one? I think it is, right? That's why I know that. That's him. Kyle Spitze, 24. Jeffrey Scott West. He shot his... Yo! You know what? I don't think they'll actually make me take it down. I think they will just say, monetize, and I didn't. It's Jesse Weber. It was him. That's him. That's the one. Oh, fuck. I mean, we gotta watch this. We gotta watch this. Will Jesse Weber let me put it up? Will he? Jesse, don't get pissed. Dude, I watched this. This is one of the craziest. Knowing what we know now, Miss Shorty, time is a flat circle, dude. I watched this video before I ever met you or we ever emailed. And I remember being like, isn't this guy a pedophile? Like, I remember like seeing shit like that all over the internet. And it was one person who was like, fuck this guy, and just posting his history and what he did. And then I looked into it and was like, oh my God, he has like a ton of charges, dude. A ton. And I watched this video and I could not figure out, like, why does this sound familiar when you were talking about it in chat? It's because I remember this fucking video. It was him who got shot. It was him. This was like a big thing on Reddit, 4chan, all the like, pretty much all the big forums that have to do with like anything from OSINT to true crime to everything, like just E-bombs world type of shit, you know? And this shit is one of the craziest. And Jesse, you can copyright strike me, but I don't think you can keep me down, brother. We appreciate your hair, Jesse Weber. Please don't take this down. I know they will. It doesn't matter. We're going. If we go, let's go on glory. All right, here we go.
Done in the ear in a domestic dispute, and we are joined by that young man himself to get to the bottom of what happened. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
So, by the way, the kid that's on the computer, we don't need it. We'll go here. The kid that's on the computer is the dude that did that to Miss Shorty's friend's kid.
According to authorities in the video, you observe a man, 68-year-old Jeffrey Scott West, and he's in an argument with his partner's son, 24-year-old Kyle W. Spitze. Now, Spitze appears to be recording the video. Now, in the video, West appears to take out a handgun, saying, quote, I'm getting ready to blow his brains out. Spitze replies, blow my brains out, shoot me, and I guarantee you'll go to jail for life. At another point in the video, West threatens Spitze and his mother, Melanie. I'm getting ready to blow his brain out and yours. From there, Spitze appears to be in his room, or for majority of the video in his bed, and Melanie appears to be trying to intervene. Well, then Spitze exits the room. He says to West, you going to blow my mom's brains out? Point that gun at me again? And that is when West fires the gun. One shot. You come to find out that that bullet struck Spitz's ear. You hear silence. You see blood droplets. He runs out of the house. You hear Melanie saying, you just effing hit him, followed by, oh my God, you're going to jail. The video stops as Spitze goes outside. And then we have come to learn that 911 is called. Officers arrive on the scene. They have a standoff with West, who is in the home. They negotiate with him. It's a standoff for about 2.5 hours. And sadly, Mr. West would be found in the home dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. As for Kyle Spitze, thankfully, he survived. He is okay. And guess what? We are joined right now by Kyle Spitze himself. Kyle, thank you so much for coming on here. And very nice to meet you. I know this isn't an easy thing to talk about, so I appreciate you being generous with your time, generous with talking about what happened. I actually just want to ask, how are you doing? As of right now, today, how are you doing?
I'm thriving actually right now. Life is doing me great. I haven't had anything serious come from it, from the event. So, I mean, honestly, I just had stitches in my ear, and I moved on. After 2 weeks, they took them out, and then it was just back to life.
That's great to hear that the physical injury was not so severe. I'm wondering about the emotional.
Jesse, That's great to hear that he wasn't. Fuck. I wish that guy. You know what? I'm not gonna say it.
Aspect of it, because right now the reason we're talking about this case is it's like that.
This is what happens when you don't do your OSINT. Jesse Weber didn't do his OSINT, and then he ends up talking to this kid, who, by the way, if you go look at his history, there was history prior. So it's not like he made the mistake. And this happened after. No. Things happened before too. I remember this guy. He was pretty well known for the shit he did under that screen name.
Has made its way online. A lot of people are talking about it today. I'm sure people are trying to get a word from you and to talk more about it. How is that going?
I've been talking to a lot of people about it. I've been trying to tell my story to multiple people. But
the reason they won't listen is because of his history prior to this, Jesse. Which you would have known if you had Googled his name, sir. Just Google at that point. Like, it wasn't even like it wasn't even hard to find.
Not anybody important, not anybody like you. So that's why I'm doing this interview, so that I can get the truth out.
I appreciate that. So what is your side of the story? What are people not understanding?
Well, a lot of people have it misconstrued when thinking that it was like my stepdad or my my actual dad, but it was neither. It was just my mom's boyfriend at the time. And also, a lot of people don't understand about my mother with her pants down. She was using the restroom at the time, and she heard the commotion about him saying that he was going to shoot me, and she came out of the restroom to see what was going on.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because I know people were wondering about that. So let's just take a step back. Before we even get into that day, your relationship with West, I mean, what was it like?
Me and him had a good relationship.
By the way, if there's any question about the precedent, like what was going on with this fucker before the video was filmed, if you don't believe me about his history, guess what the fight was over in the video? His fucking mom's boyfriend was pissed off at him for being a piece of shit that laid around all day fucking with C-Sam.
Honestly, for a long
And
time.
he was calling him on it. And for being a lazy piece of shit. And for being horrible to his mother.
Things just got out of hand that particular evening. They had been recently throughout the time. Throughout the last month that he was alive. Me and him started having arguments, and he was impaired a lot.
So to be clear, I mean, what were you guys disagreeing about?
I didn't have any disagreements with him. He didn't. I don't know. He just didn't like me.
I don't know. He just didn't like. No, you had a disagreement. You were a pedo, and they knew it, and they were pissed off at you because you sat around the house all day doing nothing but fucking around online and luring kids, and they were calling him on it. Also, you want to see a pants fall down again? It's inappropriate, but someone needs to put yakety sax behind that. Just saying.
There was just my mom's boyfriend at the time, and also there's
Hey, you're
a lot
welcome,
of
Ellie
people
B.
don't understand
Love you to
about my
Come
mother
up,
with her
girl.
pants down. She was using the restroom at the time, and she heard the commotion about him saying that he was going to shoot me, and she came out of the restroom.
Also, is that bed sheet a fucking curtain, sir? Jesus
And
Christ.
also, there's a lot of people don't
Yeah, he got
understand
shot.
about
That's him
my
getting
mother with her
shot.
pants down. She was using the restroom at the time, and she heard the commotion about him saying that he was going to
Yeah,
shoot
is
me.
that? Oh no,
and,
that's a cigarette
She
burn
came out of the
sheet.
restroom
Okay.
to see what was going on.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because I know people were wondering about that. So let's just take a step back. Before we even get into that day, your relationship with West.
Not
I
even
mean,
mad
what
at
was
it.
it like?
Getting Trump vibes from everyone.
Me and him had a good relationship, honestly, for a long time. Things just got out of hand that particular evening. They had been recently throughout the time. Throughout the last month that he was alive. Me and him started having arguments, and he was impaired a lot.
So to be clear, I mean, what were you guys disagreeing about?
I didn't have any disagreements with him.
Yes, you did.
He didn't. I don't know. He just didn't like me.
You still like because I looked at kid
Well,
porn all
it's
day.
interesting you say that because you said you had a good relationship with him, but something changed. You mentioned that was he drinking? Was he taking substances?
Yeah. He was drinking.
Uh-huh. How long
That
had
guy?
you been seeing
I
him?
don't know.
They were together for 5 years.
5 years.
Oh, that guy? You mean he's drinking? I don't
Was he
know.
taking substances?
I don't know, you guys.
He was drinking.
I don't listen. I don't believe for a second this guy of all people would be drinking. What was that? Cut off sweatpants, sir? Are you selling a mirror? It's actually a very clean, nice pressed gray t-shirt. I'm not gonna lie. That is a very clean shirt. It's very clean. It makes me wonder if he was drinking. Now I'm thinking he just found some shit on the remember Stefan Stern's roommate? Remember how there was a public open network? Well, you know, people who are old and, I mean, honestly, poor aim, ponytail, clean pressed shirt, selling mirrors on Marketplace. Sir, are you selling a mirror today? Barefoot. Wife on the toilet, all still fighting like it's no big deal. Gun in the hand, no big deal still to anybody. He's cash as fuck because he's trying to sextort on the internet right now. What are the chances that he tried to get online to do a little fat and found what he had going on? Because 5 years living with her, I mean, he's definitely not paying rent. He's mooching off this family, but I guarantee you he paid the internet because he doesn't want her to see what's on it, and neither does he, right? But this little shit isn't going to pay the internet. This Kyle fucker, because he ain't got no money. Because his extortion is not working out for him. He's getting busted, right? By Miss Shoddy's friend. He's getting busted. So, he ain't got no money. He's on the brink of getting busted. This dude's, I mean, he's got to pay at least one fucking bill for her to let him stick around. Because she looks like a nice mom. Her pants were down, sure, but that, it builds character. But her son's doing some fucked up shit. Maybe she's a piece of shit. We don't know. Miss Shody, any word? All we know is she's pants down, ass out. He's got a gun. The shirt's very clean, but he's got a ponytail. This is a lot of confusing signs. I can't possibly speculate on what party he is politically, but I'm willing to guess felon who can't vote. With all due respect. I understand that people can be felons for any reason, but I think he's the bad kind. Because who's he trying to fucking fool with this shirt and these fucking cutoffs? Get out of here, sir. Get out of here. But also, he's doing something I like, which is shooting this guy. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. About this fella. I mean, he's taking one for the team by taking out this dirtbag, but he did it wrong. So it's like, what a piece of shit. Yeah, dirtbag babe, possibly. Kyle laying in the bed the whole day. Yeah, in the day with the computer out. And it's a fucking, what is this? Was it Alienware? He fucking sucks. I think I just read that he uploaded images of him groping his unlived mom. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, well, that sucks. Yeah, he's even worse, He's worse than we thought. So, with that said, I don't know how I'd profile this fella, but I think this whole family's pretty fucked up.
How long had he been seeing your mother?
They were together for 5 years.
5 years. Wow. And
Yeah.
so during that time, but generally, what was your
And their
interaction with him?
relationship,
Yeah.
their relationship, it was good. They never argued, honestly. It wasn't bad. They
Oh,
seemed
shit.
like a good
Did he
couple.
shoot the mom?
I don't know.
And you never had a problem like this before? Never got into a fight with him?
Why
Anything
do
like
I
that?
feel like
No.
he shot the mom?
I hadn't been in a fight with him.
By the way, how did your mom
Not,
meet?
not any
meet?
physical fights.
But like you had verbal
Um,
disagreements with
Casually
him.
bring up him killing
Yeah.
the mom. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be so pissed.
And how did they meet? Your mom and Mr. West.
I think they met at AA.
Okay, gotcha.
Of
So
course.
let's talk about what
Yeah,
happened
they
that
met at
day.
AA.
There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of everybody.
By the way,
going
one
in
of the first rules of AA is don't fuck anyone here. Jesus Christ.
video. Walk us through what happened that day. How this all got started.
So basically, everybody in that house was impaired that day, me and
There you
myself
go.
included.
There you go.
You can probably hear my voice in the video. I wasn't. I was
Should have just let it play 30 more seconds, and I could have answered that question. Yes, he is fucked up.
under the influence, so I'm not going to say what. But
So you guys
The answer is kratom.
were all under the influence of something. How did it escalate to him wanting to have a gun out and wanting to shoot you?
oh, I don't even know because I was in my room chilling at the time. I was on my
Chilling.
laptop, and I just walked back into my room because I heard something and they were arguing. So I went out there and I looked and I went back in my room because it wasn't really in my business. And I heard him start yelling and saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill him" or something. And then he comes into my room and starts pointing a gun at me.
It really is
So,
impressive,
that's when I
the
started
lack of
filming, was
stains.
because I knew that he was going
Very
to come
cool,
down
I'm
to my
sure.
room because he didn't like me, and I knew that he was like messed up that night, like messed up. So I just started recording because I knew that he was gonna like come in my room on some weird.
Did you even
So,
know he
yeah.
had a gun? Like, have you ever seen him have that gun
Yeah,
before?
I knew he had a gun. I mean, we all had guns in there.
Right.
Well, everyone had
And
guns.
what did
So
and
they're
so
all
he
on an
hit you with a
even
gun. Were you
keel.
shocked, or were you like, he's not serious, he's just messing around?
Nah, honestly, I didn't care. I thought he wasn't gonna shoot me. I didn't really think that he like had the gall to be real.
Mm-hmm. And he's
Yeah.
never done that before. He's never taken out the gun before, or done anything like that.
No, he had never done that to me. I mean, we'd shooting him off before.
But like, what was the reason he did that? You said like he didn't like you. There was some sort of disagreement. Was he having a fight with your mom and then took out the gun and then came to you? Was it
Yeah,
about
and
you?
he was really messed up, and yeah, he was an angry drunk.
Mhm.
If he was on brown liquor, he was angry,
Oh
like at the world.
my God. Okay. God, I should have listened to the whole thing. I saw the whole video of what happened. This part with Jesse Weber. Just took a chance. He just said something. Let's go back. Let's see if you kids catch what he just said that says everything we need to fucking know. Everything we need to know about this situation. Let's see if you catch it.
Came to you. Was it
Yeah,
about
and
you?
he was really messed up, and yeah, he was an angry drunk.
Mm-hmm.
If he was on brown liquor, he was.
What did he just say that is important to telling us every single thing we need to fucking know? Angry drunk is important, but that's not what I'm talking about. It was something very specific. Let's hear it one more time.
If he was on brown liquor, he was.
If he was on brown liquor. Did you hear that? Anytime you hear any human being, and I'm sorry if this offends some of you, because I know for a fact it's going to. I know for a fact that there are at least 3 or 4 of you kids who are full-blown feral. You're FBFs. I don't blame you. It's okay. But you've been full-blown feral for a while, okay? And you probably said this before. Close your ears. Earmuffs, okay? Anybody who tells you that a certain color of liquor or acid or pill affects them a specific way, they're fucking out of control. They're possibly from Michigan or Ohio or Philly, okay? They definitely have guns that they will shoot you with. You will end up regretting being around them after too much time, okay? Now, some of you, it's not your fault you say it because you were surrounded by these people, but I'm telling you, not even ironically fun juggalos. Like, these are like the worst juggalos, but like, they're also like just total fucking dirtbags, dude. Like, people who tell you the brown liquor is what fucks them up. That's Trailer Park Boys shit. You feel me? When people describe the color of an alcohol as affecting them a specific way, okay? Get the fuck away from them right now. You don't need to be around them. Okay? When he gets that light beer in him, when he gets that Bud Light Lime in him, oh, when he's been drinking potato vodka, no. No, 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 no. Get away. Get out. Get out. It's not about the color of the liquor. It's about you being a crazy motherfucker and me needing to get out of this cab right now. Okay? Just exit. Just exit the situation. The color of the alcohol doesn't matter. Do you understand? This is something people tell themselves to get through a tough, long-term situation. Okay? Alcohol is a casual drink. It's like water to them. You need to go. You need to go. All right? I told you some of you would be full-blown feral. I told you this. I told you this. Adam, full-blown feral, FBF. Thomas, you have it in your name, FBF, okay? And it's okay. We still love you. But God damn it, kids. God damn it.
He was angry, like at the world. He was just looking for a fight, basically. So that's why he came down to my room and like was pointing a gun and waving it around, saying that he was going to kill me and all this blah blah blah.
And you took out the video in the hopes to stop him or to record what he's doing to like give it to police later on?
Nah, I didn't care about the police at the time. I didn't think he was going to shoot me, to be real.
God damn it,
I
Ellie.
just started recording him
You're grounded.
to show him the next day how he acted, so that he could feel bad about it or whatever.
Did you also think he might not remember what he did? Like, had he ever been drunk before or
Yeah,
intoxicated
exactly.
before where he didn't remember?
I'm not going to elaborate too much on that though.
Okay. So you got out of the room. You confront him, and you say in the video, you know, you're going to shoot my mom because he made a comment that he was going to shoot you and your mom. What happened?
So that's why I came. That's why I came out of my room, because he was like, I heard him say something. I'm gonna blow his brains out and yours. And then that's when I walked out of my room, and he was just standing there. And yeah.
And he fires a shot at you, and it hits your ear. What was your reaction to that? Like, were you just completely in shock because you don't hear anything in the video, but you see blood droplets and you hear silence for a little bit?
Honestly, I didn't even feel that. Like, it didn't even hurt that bad. It just went through my ear, and then I didn't even realize I got shot actually until I started feeling blood like hit my shirt and like start falling on the ground. Yeah, the bullet also went into the wall.
By the way, what cases like this show you is just how unpredictable the world is, right? Well, that is why I want to take a minute to thank Attorney Tom and Associates for sponsoring this episode of Sidebar, because stuff happens, and sometimes you're going to need a lawyer. But finding the right legal help is so important. Well, that is where Attorney Tom comes in. So whether you were injured in a car wreck or even a refinery explosion, or the victim of securities fraud, or maybe received a notification that your information was included in a data breach, maybe developed an illness as a result of a bad drug or toxic exposure, and there are so many other situations.
Like, you look up that address, there's a lot of land. It was on 2.5 acres or something like that. I can't remember, 1.5. I just went and I ran and I started hiding behind like trees and stuff, like down the road. And then I called the cops.
And where was your mom?
And I don't know. I just left the whole house.
Did she run out at any?
This little fucking hero. Where's your mom? No, no, fuck her. God, a little piece of shit.
I don't know. I just left the whole house.
Did she run out at any point?
Oh, actually, no. My mom ran out too.
She ran out.
Because I remember calling for her. Yeah.
And then when police came to the scene, walk us through what you observed from that. Like, what happened when police arrived?
Police were there first, but they just told me to like stand behind their car or something like that. So they were like basically they were setting up to like SWAT the house. Like basically, when I went back into the
Yeah,
house,
but Adam, like, you were probably in fear and shock. This guy, like, to be fair, this guy was egging this dude on. Do you remember that video? He was egging that dude on. He was in no way de-escalating. In fact, I think that he was contributing to the shooting. Do you remember it? What he was saying at the beginning? Like, were you yelling at the person to shoot your mom? Right? I'm just saying. Oh, you're talking about him? Okay, yeah, no, he did. Like, if that's what happened to you, that's one thing. But I highly doubt you did what he did. Do you remember the beginning of the video? Even though you said you didn't. But like, do you remember? They didn't play it on here. I wonder if I can find it and show it to you guys. It's pretty fucked up though. But he's like literally egging this guy on. Like, fucking do it, you piece of shit, you fucking dirtbag. Like, it's crazy. I would never yell that shit at somebody who's holding a gun at me, right? Like, fucking ever.
That next day, there was every single day in the house.
Well, no, Adam, but you like how I fucking saved it? How I sweeped it and saved it?
19
tried my best. I'm
windows
going with the flow,
had
kid.
gotten
Go with the
shot
flow.
out with tear gas and flashbangs because, like, I guess he had a standoff with him and then shot himself in
Yeah,
the
he's a
head.
piece of shit, dude.
Yeah,
Total piece of
you didn't
shit. I'm
observe,
Adam,
like,
this
how
guy.
long were you on scene for when this happened, or were you taken to the hospital immediately and you found out afterwards? What
Yeah, I
happened?
was taken to the hospital immediately. That's why, like, I wish my mom would have done the interview too, because she would have known that side. But
Right, and to be clear, we were going to have her on. She chose not to come on. Totally respect that. Let me ask you this. So, just going back, after you run out of the house, after your mom runs out of the house, did Wes come out at any point, or did you hear him in the house? Was he just staying in there?
honestly, I think that he thought he killed me, and that's why he killed himself.
When you found out that he
That's what
died,
happened. No, he killed himself. He didn't kill the mom. He killed himself. Wait, so is Kyle playing with his tits? I'm confused now. Let's keep going.
What was your reaction?
I was just
Yeah,
like,
he was
wow.
don't fuck with Katzing.
I didn't think that he would do it.
And
like
he was
that,
all he
but-
wasn't just doing that. He was doing CSAM shit too. He's got a huge history. Like a huge history online.
I mean,
it was either he spent the rest of his life in prison or he killed himself. I mean, those were his two options, basically.
Let me see.
How are you and your mom
And I
doing
guess he
about
just-
that?
This one
Because, I mean, he
is
was in a relationship with your mom for 5
7
years.
months
so that
ago.
like my actual father or
Uh-huh.
anything, so
Right.
it didn't affect my life too much of his death. But my mom had to go to counseling.
Yeah, I understand. It's a miracle you're okay, and I'm happy you're okay. Talk to us about what the recovery's been like with your ear.
Oh, look here, I'll show you the ear.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
the ear.
You're not showing
but
us
it is
the ear.
fine. I haven't had any plastic surgery on it. They did really good at the University of Knoxville. The recovery was it hurt for like a month, and then I had the stitches
It's
in
an
for
online thing.
I want to say like 2.5 weeks, and then they came out.
Wow. I'm glad you're all right. That's pretty crazy. And your mom's okay? She wasn't injured in
Yeah,
any way
like
during
ours,
the course
but
of this?
not good.
No.
Nothing like
Yeah.
ours, actually. Ours is
Being
good.
back
His
in the
fucking
house where this
sucks.
happened, is it tough for you guys?
I'm not back in the house right now.
Oh, you're not. Okay, so did you guys move out of
No.
that house, or like what happened to the actual house?
I think the house got given to s- his kid's mother.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh,
So
let me ask you. I mean, whose house was that? I should ask you that. I mean, why were
Yep.
you guys all in the same
This
house
is
at
the
that time?
guy, for those of you who missed it, this is the guy that was basically Miss Shorty's friend's daughter was a victim of this guy, but they're in Australia and this guy is here in the US. But it was for another crime. When she brought him up, I recognized the name and I was like, I swear, like someone involved around him got shot. And then when we finished the video, I saw one on the side. I was like, wait, it is that guy. Because I remember thinking he looked like Kai the Hitchhiker. He got shot or someone around him got shot in a video, and that there was like a whole bunch of weird online backstory to him that I went into one night and was looking at. And it was just insane, the amount of shit this kid didn't just commit one crime once. He committed many crimes, including the shit we were talking about multiple times. One of them to Miss Shorty's closest friend's daughter, right? It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. You emailed the link of the article talking about the thing with the mom. Okay. I will look at it while this plays.
well, I was renting to stay there at that time, but my mom and that's just where they live.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
my mom and Scott.
Gotcha. So now that everybody's seeing this video and it's circulating online, you mentioned clearing up the record in terms of your relationship with him, why we observed certain things in the video. Is there anything else you want people to know about this, or do you not like all the attention that's coming from this video? I mean, walk us through how you're feeling right now about it. Everybody talking about it.
It hasn't affected me in real life yet, but online, I don't know. The comments are funny. People can keep talking about it. I don't care. Anyone can talk about it. Anyone can post it. I don't really care.
Well, listen,
It is what it is. I mean, I wasn't looking for fame, but
I posted a link in the
it's not fame
chat
in a good way or anything.
sent to me
No, I get. Look, it's a difficult situation. It's a sad situation. I mean, you have somebody
by.
that was in your
Hold
life,
on. Oh,
and
it's
your mom's life,
loading.
and it's
It's
really tragic.
loading.
But
Was that
listen,
Holly who sent that?
yeah,
Who sent that?
yeah.
Sorry.
And it's a terrible how
Holly
it
sent
escalated
it
and
to
turned
me.
into
Thank
that.
you,
But I'm glad you
Holly.
were able to clarify some things and clear up some things about what happened in that video.
I just posted the link in the
Again, I'm so
chat.
happy you're okay.
I'll post it
And
again.
I'm
What
sorry
was
for
that?
the loss for you and your mom, and that you guys had to go through that. But listen, Kyle, I really appreciate you taking the time coming here on
Yeah.
Sidebar talking about
What a
this.
wanker,
And
Tracy.
again, I'll extend the invite if your mom ever wants to come on and talk to us. We have an open invite for her as well. But listen, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, of course, Jesse.
All right, everybody. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for joining us.
764
Crazy
Colts
video,
is
crazy
what his
story.
little group
Please
is
subscribe
called.
on Apple.
Yeah, same guy. Isn't that crazy? Kyle Spitze. Let's see this part. Let's see what you sent me, kiddo. Oh, unless I'm frozen. I'm fucking frozen. All right. Let's see if I pop up or if it's going to stay frozen. Shit, I gotta go. It's way past when I had to go. Whoops. Whoopsie. All right, let's see. Is it still frozen? No, it's starting to get better. Okay, there we go. I gotta go, kids. But we spoke a lot on topics that I wanted to talk about. We're not gonna have time for more call-ins, unfortunately, but we'll do that tomorrow or the next day, whenever I see you again. I do want to post some links in the chat, which I will also post below, in addition to the Kyle Spitze one. And these are 3 different links to 3 different things. And if you can copy paste or if you can take a screenshot of it, one of them is an article on this thing called the Blue Whale Challenge. It's one of the more niche dangers that started in, I think, 2016. Actually became a Netflix movie based on something that was a perceived hoax, or a real hoax, then a perceived hoax, and then ended up being real. And it's something that was basically almost like a step-by-step Squid Game that online predators were doing to kids that ended with suicide. And it's almost like a challenge. And it's disturbing. It's the sickest of the sick. We are not going to talk about it on this channel today, but I want you to check it out just in case any weird shit like that pops up in the future, because things that are often hoaxes end up becoming real because people make it so. The other one is a Rotary.org article about it to show you a real life case where it happened. And then that Netflix link is where you can watch the movie they made about it, which I haven't seen. I don't vouch for, but I was like, oh shit, they made a movie. I'll include this. Article gone, Dad. Okay, excellent. Well, what the fuck is. Oh my God, this guy's loud. Taking that down. Whoops. Which article is down or gone? Which one? All three of them I just checked earlier should be up. Check about the Kyle Spitze one. Well, I'll include it all below. The Blue Whale one. No, they're all there. Wiki? We'll just type in blue. Oh, you might have to just type in Blue Whale Challenge and then click on the Wikipedia one that pops up. I'll fix it. Sorry. Probably tomorrow or the next day, Tracy. But yeah, that's like the worst shit, and I didn't want to show that and really get too deep into that because it's kind of a little in the past, but it still happens once in a while. Also, let me see. Got some other articles and some resources that I'm going to put below. And I think we'll either do, I'll just put some links to some articles. We're not going to do a part 3 on this because I've already done something similar with Duty Ron on the Stefan Stearns thing, but there's definitely like some more up-to-date articles that show you like what an app is. And I actually talked about it in the last video. So I'll post that below so that you can go through and see what the apps are to look for. Miss Shorty says it worked for her, or you might have copy pasted the wrong. You might have added, because I think it's squished together with that other link. I'm sorry. But I'll put them below in a little bit. But yeah, you got on 2 so far. Okay. You've never heard of that before. It's fucked up. The Blue Whale Challenge is fucked up. It's something that, and that's the thing is like a lot of these, they're fleeting, but this one lasted a couple of years. And again, it went from like almost a hoax because it had happened once, but loosely. It wasn't exactly like they said, and then it became real. And then a lot of kids started doing it willingly, and it was really disturbing. And this is the type of shit we're dealing with. And the best way that I think we can fix it or try to combat it is to learn about it. And now it's my time to go do the dishes and throw a munch before bed. Love you kids, you're the best. You're all badass. Thank you for hanging out with me again. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to accomplish all of this in one video earlier, but I am actually very grateful because if we hadn't done that, then we wouldn't have gotten to talk to Miss Shouty and show all of this and learn a whole bunch about it. Good night, kids. Here's how I think we should end. I think we should end with a special video. I think we're going to end with this, okay? We're going to end with Hugin screaming his favorite word at me in the kitchen. Good night, you guys. Good night. Hail him.
Yolanda Saldivar? Yolanda Saldivar? She killed Selena. Yolanda!